You play a key role in the awakening world. And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. I gotta say, I still get chills every time I watch that video because it so represents what tonight and these shows that we do every weekend are all about. Welcome to the awakening world. And yeah, it's hard out there. And there's a lot of really big changes that need to go on and are going on and that are hard. And we're coming together and raising our consciousness together. And that's what these shows are all about. So welcome. I want to welcome all the wonderful people that are in our Zoom room, our beautiful Global Peace Tribe community. And I want to welcome everybody watching us live on Facebook or on the different YouTube channels. Welcome. I want to invite you to consider coming into the Zoom room with us, especially for tonight's show, because tonight we're going to have a lot of interaction. We've got amazing relationship teachers. You know, the byline for the awakening world is all about our relationships with each other and with our world, with Mother Earth. Well, this weekend is dedicated to bringing some of the best relationship teachers that I know together and highlighting, spotlighting this amazing new organization, this new platform called RelationFlix. And you're going to learn all about RelationFlix tonight. So it's a relationship-oriented night. And so if you've got questions about your relationship, come on into our Zoom room because we are going to have a question and answer period during our after show. Also, you can also interact directly with a lot of the teachers by being in the Zoom room and chatting up. So how do you come into the Zoom room? It's easy. Go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and register. It takes about a minute. As soon as you register, you'll immediately get links to all 3 shows that we do all weekend long. We do a show every Friday night, a show every Saturday night, and a show every Sunday morning. And every weekend, we pick a theme. Sometimes the theme is about the environment, or it might be about racial and social justice. And again, tonight, it's all about relationship. So come on in and join our Global Peace Tribe. Also, once we get your email address, and we keep it for ourselves, we don't give it to anybody else, but you will receive a weekly update on our upcoming events and activities and what each show is going to be, and also how to access all of our replays. We've been doing a lot of shows. Many of you knew us from when we were doing Saturday Night Alive. I hosted 90 Saturday Night Lives, didn't miss a night. Once the pandemic started, and you can access all of those shows as well. So the Global Peace Tribe has been growing and evolving, and we want to invite all of you to come in and be a part of it. All right. One of my dearest friends is Steve Rowland. And Steve and I, since the moment we met, it was all about relationships. He attended my Relationship Essentials course multiple times, set the record for that. And he shared with me a vision he had a few years ago for a platform that would bring the best relationship teachers together, the best relationship videos, a place where people could go to get their answers for their relationship issues. And let's face it, life is relationship. From the moment we wake up until we go to sleep at night, we're in relationship with each other, with ourselves, with Source, with obviously nature. Anyway, I'm really excited because this is it. There's Steve Rowland, and he and his partner Dolphin have done it. They have put together this incredible organization called RelationFlix. And tonight we're going to meet some of their favorite teachers. We're going to learn all about it. And their teachers are amazing. It includes Mike Dyer. You've seen Michael on some of my previous shows. He is a really brilliant author and he speaks so from the heart. I always love what Mike has to say. My roommate, Paul Sterling, is going to be with us. He's right downstairs. And Paul is a published author and he always has such wisdom. Also, just want to acknowledge that Bob Proctor passed away. Many of you may know Bob. He was a friend of Paul's, and Paul's going to lead a tribute to Bob Proctor during our after show. Another featured teacher tonight is going to be Mike Thomas. I've had Mike on my Straight Talk show a few times. He's got it together and he's all about the body. He has such an understanding of how to include our body's intelligence. So we're going to hear from Mike tonight, and I'm looking forward to that. There's a new person that I just met, and this is, I hope I pronounced it right, Arika. Really looking forward to her medicine, her wisdom. She brings a really eclectic and extraordinary background into her teaching and wisdom. And one of my favorite people, Sheza Cheryl, is going to be with us tonight, coming to us from Maui, or from the Big Island of Hawaii, the Big Island. Big Island. Sheza is a longtime friend, and she also has just written a book on the sexy new earth. So Sexy Sheza is going to tell us all about the sexy new earth, and I'm really excited about that, Sheza. It's great to have you with us. Of course, we always have on Saturday nights wonderful music, and Kristen Hoffman's with us, and to have Kristen is always a blessing. Just during the sound check, I get chills listening to Kristen's music. So welcome, Kristen. I'm so glad to have you with us. And she's also going to help us with our prayer circle, which we're going to do a little bit later on in the show tonight. And then we also have another favorite from the Saturday Night Alive days. It's Sister Stone. She's back. And it's great to have Sister Stone with us. So thank you, Sister Stone, for coming back and being with us again. Really looking forward to your 2 songs that you'll be doing for us. And then finally, we are going to have a really wonderful after show tonight. And the after show is going to include Fanny and Vigari, who you've heard at some of the previous after shows. And they are so exquisite in their music. So Fanny and Vigari will be with us during the after show. We'll have a tribute to Bob Proctor, and we're going to take your questions and have some answers from some of our relationship experts. So it's going to be a very full show. Stick around, invite your friends, let everybody know about it. Spread it out on Facebook, let people know about us. I'm going to turn it back over to Stephen and to Dolphin to let them share with you a little bit about RelationFlix and the Depth Summit that is happening concurrently with this weekend. This weekend is when they really are kind of getting this beautiful project going. So, Stephen, Dolphin, the spotlights are on you. Tell us all about the Depth Summit and RelationFlix.
Thank you so much, Scott. Appreciate
Thanks, Scott.
so much just your warm, open-hearted generosity with having us here on the show. And it's just lovely to be here with you and everybody who's on the show with us and watching the show. And yeah, it's been a joy collaborating with you on the RelationFlix project as well. And the content that we have of yours for the platform, Scott, is just gorgeous. And every time I watch it, I just keep having this experience of being like, oh, this is so good. Such incredible content. And so the RelationFlix platform, I'll just say a little piece about that. The RelationFlix platform is an idea that landed for me a few years ago And as soon as this idea bubbled up, there's something in me that just, my will committed to it. And it was one of those things that was just like this like astronomical mountain to climb, and I had no idea how I was going to do it, but I knew I needed to do it. And here we are, a week away from our grand opening, which is happening on Valentine's Day, which feels fated almost. And so the RelationFlix platform is a video subscription service platform that we've been working really, really hard on building. It's a whole bunch of educational content on relationships, intimacy, sexuality, dating, communication skills, conflict resolution, emotional intelligence, compassionate communication, psychology, attachment theory, personal development, trauma healing. Like there's such a rich network of incredible content that's been captured by pro videographers and filmmakers. So we really wanted to keep the quality bar really high for our content. And yeah, we've been working on it for 3 years, and here we are 3 years later, a week away from our launch, and it's a really exciting time. And as a part of the extravaganza of our grand opening is the Depth Summit, which is my business partner Dolphin's idea, and I'm actually the co-pilot for that project. He's been the commander-in-chief for the Depth Summit, so I'll let him speak to that if he wants to in a moment here. But the Depth Summit is a free online event that we've been hosting this weekend, and we wanted to deliver something really high value for free that really brings together a whole bunch of incredible experts, much like the RelationFlix platform, but for a concentrated dose of it over a weekend. And there's still time. There's still a full day of amazing workshops tomorrow happening. That's ending with a really cool next level conscious relationship dating game show at the end of the day. So there's just a lot of fun in store tomorrow. It's going to be great. It's free. And yeah, tons of great workshops. Dolphin, anything you'd like to say about the Depth Summit? I'd love to get you in here.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. I think what comes to me as you're speaking is just this sense that in spite of the monumental amount of work that's gone into the last few years of bringing this all together, in a certain way it's felt, I wouldn't say effortless, but it's felt easy to say yes to. And that's the experience we keep having with the people that want to co-create with us, with the educators that want to come on board, with the people that want to come to the summit and to the subscription platform that launches soon. It feels good to be building something with a lot of moving parts, but where there's something for everyone. There's a place for everyone to come in and get the things that we're most longing for, which is to feel an authentic relationship with our own inner life, and the capacity to be deeply connected with people around us. And that's what we're all about. It's what the summit is all about. It's what the RelationFlix platform is all about. And I love that we're at the very beginning and that we get to keep innovating and iterating and bringing value in unique ways to people that want to join and play in the sandbox with us. So yeah, just absolute pleasure all the way along. Not easy, but beautiful. And just looking forward to sharing more and more as we go.
Beautiful, well said. And I was actually uploading some of your content today to the platform and just kind of having like these fond memories of like, oh yeah, like I remember being behind the camera shooting your content and feeling like I was getting coached by an expert while I was shooting the content, and I was just like, oh, this is juicy. And I had a nice memory tickle me today as I was uploading that content to the platform, and yeah, it just reminds me that there's just, it's such a rich treasure trove of content. And I'm certainly biased, and I'm not gonna deny that because of the blood, sweat, and tears that we've been putting into the project. But there's also this part of me that kind of objectively take a step back from it and look at this video subscription service platform with all of the content from the 30 plus educators that are on it, with the content that supports people, whether they're single or dating or newly in a relationship in their honeymoon phase or out of the honeymoon phase and looking to keep that passionate, fiery magic alive, or, you know, whether they're at the tailing end of a relationship or they've been in a relationship for 20 or 30 years and they're looking to reinvigorate from that space. You know, it's just, there's such a rich treasure trove of content that supports people wherever they're at. And I And yeah, there's a part of me that like leans back and looks at it and is like, this is actually really good. So yeah, it feels good to authentically say that from a relatively objective place. And if you're interested, you can register for the Depth Summit for free. It's at depthsummit.com. And we still have a full day of workshops tomorrow, like I mentioned. And if you are interested in the platform, there is an opportunity. There is a paid option on the Depth Summit page as well. Again, it's totally free and you don't have to go there if you don't want to. But there is an option to get the VIP pass for the summit, which also includes all of the videos from the summit afterwards, as well as a 1-year subscription to the RelationFlix platform. That's a pre-order that will go live for you on Valentine's Day. And that price is 99 Canadian dollars, which is probably somewhere around 70 or 75 US dollars for our American family here today. So it's the lowest price we'll ever offer it, I'm sure. And yeah,
I've
that's
I've, I've gone ahead and pulled up the website so people can see it, and I know it's
perfect.
a lot of information for everybody. So let's just take a breath. What you want to do is go to depthsummit.com, and even though the first 2 days have gone by registering now, you get started with this incredible platform, and it's the best way to really get going with them. And then, of course, it's all going to launch on February 14th. Gentlemen, we'll be hearing and seeing you throughout the evening. Again, congratulations.
Thanks,
Congratulations.
Scott.
Thank you so much.
A job well done. You know, I'm noticing that a lot of the people in our Zoom room have been attending your summit, and they've been saying, "Oh my God, these speakers and these teachers are so great." So there's a lot of really wonderful, feedback already. All right, I want to invite everybody now to take a breath because we're about to get to a really beautiful part of the show. I'm about to introduce Kristen Hoffman, who's going to play a song for us. And Kristen truly is a bridge between worlds. You know, this show is called The Awakening World. And when I decided to kind of weave together Saturday Night Alive with my Straight Talk show, my Sacred Sunday show, when I decided to do that, I wanted to create it as The Awakening World. And right off the bat, I said, Kristen, can you please be my co-host and help create it with me? And she is who created that opening trailer that you saw, that opening bumper. That's her video that she provided. That's her voice speaking. That's her voice singing. She has become such an incredibly important part of my life and such an important part of the awakening world. So I'm going to bring her on camera now so you can see her. And I want to invite people that when Kristen sings, stop whatever else you're doing. If you've been tempted to multitask, put it aside and ride the experience with her. Take this experience with her. She's going to sing a song now. She's going to lead us on a different kind of musical journey a little bit later on in the show. But whether it's a song or a musical journey, allow yourself to really ride with her because she bridges worlds and takes us to a whole new dimension. So with all that, thank you so much, Kristen, for being with us tonight.
Thank you so much, Scott. And hello to everyone who's watching tonight. It's always such a pleasure to be here on The Awakening World. And in honor of The Awakening World and also waking up to higher levels of relationship, I dug into the archives to one of my favorite songs that I have not played in a really long time. And it was fun today because I got to practice it and bring it into new light. And this piece is called The Waking. And as we wake up to ourselves, we're able to be more present to both how to love ourselves and take care of ourselves and listen to what our hearts are saying, and also then have more capacity to listen and exchange on a really high level with others. So as you're listening to this song, maybe just feel it lifting you, grounding you, and healing you. Lots of love. Here we go.
It's like a new beginning. Your life has just begun. The morning opens up her eyes, forgetting everything that was tied to yesterday. Today's where now or never lies. Open up your mind. Hold your heart to mine. Oh, here we're living in the dream. I keep waking into me, letting go of what seems. Oh, my dear, feels hard to find your way, but you keep searching every day, and in your heart you're waking up to you. Into my open window, the sunlight walks right through. You know this moment's up to you. Open up your eyes. You're no longer blind. Oh, here, living in the dream. I keep waking into me, letting go of what seems. Oh, my dear, feels hard to find your way, but you keep searching every day, and in your heart you're waking up to you. Waking hearts are forever. Living in the dream, I keep waking into me, letting go of what seems. Oh, my dear, feels hard to find your way, but you keep searching every day, and in your heart you're waking up to you. You're living in the dream. You're waking into me. You're hard to find. Searching every day. You're waking.
Oh, Kristen. That was just absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
People are going nuts in the chat box over it, as they should. And I just, oh my God, I got tears. That is such a powerful song.
Thank you. I actually, there's a whole record, a little EP, 6-song EP called The Waking that you can find on Spotify and all of that, wherever you want to
Send me
listen.
that link, and later on in the show, I'll pull it up to show people, all right?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I just thought, oh, this is a good song to start and get the energy flowing.
Perfect, my gosh. So while we've got Kristen, I just want to let everybody, let's talk about Valentine's Day for a minute.
Let's talk.
Valentine's Day can be wonderful for some people.
Yes.
It can also be really hard. It's hard for people that are single. It's hard for people that are in a relationship that's challenged. It's hard for people that are divorced or widowed. Um, and so we wanted to do something really, really special on Valentine's Day. And I am so grateful to, if you don't already know about it, Kristen and Cornflower, two of our absolute favorite musical artists, are combining again. They met through Saturday Night Live. They have done several projects together with us, and they are doing a Valentine's concert on Valentine's night. So here's what we want to do. On Valentine's Day, you want to join RelationFlix, and by day, get some great relationship coaching, teaching videos, and then in the evening, drop into this amazing concert. It's only $22. And Kristen, tell us a little bit about it. And by the way, thank you to Jane Kaplan, who's putting the links into the chat box and into our Zoom rooms and Facebook pages. Tell us about what you and Cornflower have planned.
Yes, so this is going to be a concert, a night to just soak in the love. If you're feeling alone, it'll be a time to just receive. If you are celebrating love with a partner that night, will help to get you in the mood of love and just celebrate your relationship. And if you are calling in a relationship, we're going to celebrate that kind of love, divine love, family love. We are going to be tapping into all of the different expressions of love and how they enrich our lives and how we can we're really going to be looking to just heighten and call in these forms of love through the powerful vehicle of music. And I'm sure most of you watching know Cornflower. If you don't, he is just an extraordinary live looping vocalist. He will completely lift your heart and your soul. And I'm going to be bringing some songs about love to the concert and also some journeys, kind of like I'm going to do later in the show tonight, where I'll do a total improv, a solo improv in the honor of the spirit of that night on the fly. So please come join us. It's at 9 p.m. Eastern Time and 6 p.m. Pacific. So for those on the Pacific Coast, you can watch the concert and still have time for dinner. And those on the East Coast, you can eat dinner and then attend the concert.
Exactly. And it's going to be powerful. I mean, look at how uplifting just her, whatever that was, 7 or 8 minute song was. Wait until you see what it's like to spend 90 minutes with her and with Cornflower going back and forth. It's going to be a great, great night and a wonderful way for us, no matter what our situation is, to enjoy Valentine's. Kristen, thank you so much for being such an incredible presence in my life and in the Global Peace Tribe.
I love you so much, Scott. Thank you also just for your incredible support of me and other artists. I mean, literally, you are such an incredible, huge-hearted being, and the awakening world really does support the arts in a wonderful way. So thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay.
All right, we'll see a little more of Kristen later on in the show.
See you in a bit.
I'm going to bring it back to my buddy Stephen to introduce our first teacher presenter for the night, our first educator. I notice that's the word you've been using. Educators.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you, Scott. Mike Thomas. I had such a joy collaborating with Mike Thomas, creating his course called Relational Regulation for the RelationFlix platform. And Mike he's a nervous system and body trauma healing and attachment theory expert. And I learned so much from him shooting the course with him, just being behind the camera. It was a really lovely experience. And it's my joy to introduce Mike tonight. So Mike has over 20 years experience working with groups and individuals to optimize their wellness through mindful movement. His trauma-informed approach maximizes results through working smarter, not harder. Utilizing breath techniques, alignment principles, and nervous system regulation techniques to deepen awareness and regulation, Mike is the professional you seek out when you're ready to establish daily practices that bring out the greatest possible version of you. And yeah, Mike, your knowledge and wisdom and the clarity from which you speak it with is such a gift, and it's my joy to introduce you.
Stephen, thank you so much for that introduction. So I would like to share with everyone here a little taste of what my course on RelationFlix will be like, and in the process, talk about the theme for tonight, relationships as a sacred mirror. And so my course, Relational Regulation Skills, is just what it sounds like. To deepen your skills in relationship through regulating your nervous system, not only relationship to a significant other, an intimate relationship, but relationship with yourself. So it's the process of regulating the self and regulating other. And so in that process, through the course, I give a lot of technical details around understanding the nervous system so we can map it out, so we can understand exactly what's going on, and then providing some tools so that you can notice when you're dysregulated before it becomes a problem, before you start blowing up at your spouse, let's say, or before you perhaps shut down because you feel overwhelmed and just want to get space. So a major part of this, to understand how to map out the nervous system, is looking at attachment theory. Now, John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, when they first came out with this theory, and this is over 50 years ago, when it was first created, the idea, Bowlby was talking to his wife, and he was going to call it something along the lines of the theory of love and how love works. And she recommended that he call it something else because she didn't want him to be laughed out of the room. And he ended up studying the patterns of how we relate to one another. And going back to this concept of relationships as a sacred mirror, we have these really cool neurons in the medial prefrontal cortex called mirror neurons. Now, these are really, really helpful little guys, because when you're growing up, specifically in the attachment phase of development as an infant, we mirror, and Dr. Dan Siegel would say we sponge in the body language experience of our caregivers. And depending on what they give to us through modeling with their body language, the tone of voice, the cadence of their voice, the gestures that they use, postures, facial expressions, these are all ways that the infant develops the brain in specific ways that in adulthood set up the way we interact with our intimate partners. So the closer we're bonded to someone, the more likely the attachment system shows up. And this experience of whatever we learned from our caregivers sets us up to have these automatic programs going on. And it's not conscious. We don't say, oh man, I want to be needy in this relationship, or oh man, I want to be the one who's a distancer. It happens whether you want it to or not. It happens underneath conscious awareness. And so what I'd like to share with you today, because there's a brief amount of time here, is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you a basic chart that shows what happens when we move up in terms of stress in the nervous system. So this is based on polyvagal theory, poly meaning many and vagal referring to the vagus nerve, the different branches of the autonomic nervous system. When we're at the lowest level of stress, we can engage with people socially. And we can regulate our nervous systems. We think better. We can be balanced emotionally. We can meet other people's needs as well as our own. We have flexibility. But when stress goes up, and this is unconscious, mind you, we go into a mobilization zone. Most people have heard of this as the fight or flight response. And this is where you get anxiety or you get clingy. You feel anxious about, is my partner going to be there for me? What do they actually think of me? Do you think maybe they're going to leave at some point? This is the sympathetic nervous system showing up. And then at the immobilization zone, at the highest level of stress, is where we shut down. So I wanted to briefly take you all through a breathing exercise for when you're in one of these zones or the other. So with the last remaining 2 minutes here, what I'd like you to do is get comfortable in your seat and put one hand on your chest and one on your belly. And if you can, use your nose and take a deep breath into your belly so it expands. And then exhale and see if you can make it a little longer than the inhale. And deep inhale again, as deep as is comfortable. Long exhale. Now, this would normally repeat for at least 10 breaths. But what you'll start to notice if you continue this breathing pattern is if you felt any anxiety before, it will start to dissipate. Because when we exhale, we lower the stress response. When we inhale, we raise it back up. It's this process of going up and down called heart rate variability. And so when you exhale longer than your inhale, you're gradually making your body calmer and calmer, and it'll change your state of mind, your ability to connect with your lover, your friends, your family, to really hear what they're saying and perhaps get it the first or second or third time versus maybe they never get what you're saying. Now, if you're all the way up in that immobilization zone, you need to wake the system up. And so a breathing pattern for that is to breathe deeply, quickly into the upper lungs and focus on how deep you breathe into the chest, like this, with your mouth. And then just let it fall out. If you've done any Wim Hof breathing, you might hear something familiar in the cadence. Deep breath in, let it fall out. Deep breath in, let it fall out. And you would repeat that until you feel a change in sensation somewhere in the front of your body. And that's your body saying, oh, I'm waking up now. And that takes you from that immobilized zone down into mobilized. And then you would do the calm breathing pattern that we did before and take yourself all the way down into social engagement. So that's just a taste of what my course is like on RelationFlix. And I look forward to interacting with you all soon.
Hey, Mike, thank you so much. I want to read a couple of comments that have come in and stick around. I've actually still got the camera on you, Mike, and then we're going to go take a look at your website also. But there's a couple of really good comments that have come in that are relevant to what we just heard. Danielle writes, I love how Mike is helping us move away from any self-judgment or other judgment and setting us up for acceptance and from there, healing and growth. And Ayada points out something that's really pertinent to you, Mike, and to the whole vision of RelationFlix. She writes, I just love that terms like trauma healing and attachment theory are fast becoming part of our vocabulary. We're finally figuring out so many previously misunderstood human behaviors and conditions. And it's really true. It's like, how blessed we are to be having the education that people like you and the different RelationFlix teachers understand. We're able to learn things that our parents and our ancestors never had access to. How the body works, how the brain works. It's pretty extraordinary. So I'll probably read other comments later on. I want to take people, of course, the best way with all the teachers you're seeing tonight is to join RelationFlix. Go to thedepthsummit.com, join RelationFlix, and that's how you're going to get all these teachers all in one package. But I also want to let people know if you want more of Mike Thomas, go to his website, which is holisticfitnesslifestyle.com. holisticfitnesslifestyle.com. And you can, learn all about his team. They've got videos. There's Mike with looking, smiling, and his partner Danielle. So it's holisticfitnesslifestyle.com. Mike, it's always been a pleasure to work with you. I think this is the third show you've been on with me, and I certainly look forward to many more and seeing all that you've got on the RelationFlix platform as we all work together, hopefully for many years to come.
Indeed. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to Stephen to introduce somebody that I adore. We're about to meet Sheza. Here's Stephen to tell us all about her.
Yeah, it's my total joy to introduce Sheza. And I said this a little bit earlier today, and I'm going to say it again because it's really true. Sheza has this very signature charismatic charm to her that she just radiates. And she has this capacity that as soon as she enters a space or she enters your field in a social media feed or something like that, she just makes the space better by her being who she is and that unique flavor of spark that she brings. And not only that, but we actually have some really great content from her delivering her magic for the RelationFlix platform as well. And she's an excellent facilitator and teacher, and has hosted retreats and workshops and has been really active in her teaching career that's led her to writing a book, which she may tell you about. And so now she's a published author too. So that's super cool. And anyways, love you, Sheza, and it's great to be here with you.
Thank you so much. I am so pleased to be here with this phenomenal group of human beings in this intentional space. And yeah, so my book, The Sexy New Earth, is hopefully coming out on Monday. Unless there's a tiny glitch, it might be Tuesday, but hopefully we're on schedule for Monday. The Sexy New Earth is, I don't know, the name just came to me. It feels like what I feel most excited about creating in this world is a planet that is more loving, connected, and sexy. So the Sexy New Earth came to me in an Airbnb in Tulum. I was with 3 other people who have been working in the sex and relationship industry for a long time. We got together for a week and for our a social and erotic media platform I'm part of, which is called Gasm. And we got together and we said, if we want people to be truly self-actualized, what are all the things that we want to teach? Well, you can imagine 4 people we had a huge long list, but we subdivided this list into 4 categories, which is self-love, embodiment and pleasure, empowered connection, and transformational expression. So this is The Sexy New Earth, is about these 4 different categories. The first book actually does not go into empowered connections. It's going to be another book called Sexy New Earth Relationships. And I'm also working on a book called Sexy New Earth Writers, for writers who want to express themselves more fully in this way that is creating the sexy new earth. Because on this digital time in our lives, writing is like so important to get that message, our soul level message out into the world. I think that's what Stephen was talking about, saying I shezify things, is just that way of bringing wisdom through our bodies into the world. So that's what I'm really passionate about. I absolutely love to share about, I did a couple of different courses on RelationFlix. One of them is the magic of sensual massage. And I'm pretty excited I've been teaching that. I've been practicing all sorts of massages, tantric massage, sensual massage, and really helping people getting into their breath, into their bodies for a long time. And this is just a really, anybody can do it. You don't need to be lovers or just friends. Anyone can share this space of vulnerability and stating our desires, and then practice these different ways of touching someone else. And sorry if my Zoom is wobbly. I'm on the Big Island, and this is just what is right now. But okay, good. So I just, I'm excited to share that, because it's going to be I've been wanting to share the magic of sensual massage and send that out to so many people around the world, because I believe that it's really missing. Like, how many couples are hanging in their rooms, oh, it's Friday night, we'll just eat dinner and sit in front of the TV. And sensual massage is such a beautiful way. And like I said, it doesn't even have to be couples, even your friend, like getting together with somebody and just intentionally touching someone else. It's free. And everybody can learn this magical way of relating with each other through touch. And I believe that in order to create the sexy new earth, we want to absolutely expand the levels of touch, the amount of touch that people are getting, the way that people are touching each other. I just believe that touch is, people are literally, after working with thousands of people, I can tell you that people are screaming for touch and being touched in a way that is nourishing rather than grasping. And so I'm extremely excited to offer this on the platform. And as part of the sexy new earth, let's bring more touch, more yumminess and deliciousness into our bodies and into our connection with others. Mm-hmm. And if anybody would like to order the Sexy New Earth on Monday when it comes out, please just drop me a line. I'm Sheza Cheryl on Facebook, and I'll send you the link. I would super appreciate, and sending you all so much love.
It's great to have you with us, Sheza. I've had the blessing of knowing Sheza for quite a while, and she's a wonderful teacher. We've been at festivals together, and I actually always go and make sure that I catch what she's teaching and doing, because it's always very alive and very dynamic. And a reminder that you can follow her on Facebook. We've put the link in, and so we're waiting for the Sexy New Earth website to come out, which will hopefully be soon. Follow her on Facebook. And Sheza, again, congratulations on your book, and thank you for really being the embodiment of the way that you're combining all these different elements together in such a beautiful way. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you.
I am now going to introduce, again, another amazing musical artist, because I knew we had Kristen Hoffman, who was like, oh my gosh, who else can we have? Because Kristen sets the bar so high. Well, I reached out to Sister Stone. She's one of our favorite artists from Saturday Night Live days, and she agreed to come back on again. So Sister Stone has also, it's interesting that she's following up after Sheza, because Sister Stone also has a deep love of the earth. So many of her songs are dedicated to the earth. She's lived a lot with indigenous people, and she really is very cross-cultural in her understanding. So, Sister Stone, it's so good to have you back with us. And what have you got for us tonight?
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, as always. So thankful for this topic. I always say, too, that we live on a relationship, and that for me, that's, all of my music is actually about relationships, because it's all about relationships. Everything is about relationship with ourselves, relationship with earth, relationship with each other, relationship with the non-human world and the spirit world. And how we tend to those relationships is essentially how we will thrive, and how we can create better, resilient ecosystems in the inner space and the outer space. And so this song is called Relations. So all about that. And I'm inviting you to groove and move and enjoy and dance. And here we go. I get right behind that. 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 Follow it, See where it goes, stay true, stay on the road, make your offering, reciprocal feeling, let it sing, let your heart ring, be in right relation, good vibration, life is sweet, all that water brings, so much to be thankful for, focus on the prayer. Water and fire, air, holy creator, mother earth, father sky, walk with you side by side. Holy creator, mother earth, father sky, walk with you side by side. Holy creator, mother earth, father sky, walk with you side by side. Holy creator, mother earth, father sky, walk with you side by side. Yo, there's a higher power and they hear sincerity. Speak your prayers, cry your tears, specificity. This road of life is rugged, it will push you to your test. It will bring you out, love you down to your essence. Get down on your knees, close to Mama Earth. Think about your loved ones, put your family first. It's all about relations and how we tend to them. Reciprocal relations, human and non-human kin. Yeah. Holy creator, mother earth, father sky, walk with you side by side. Holy creator, mother earth, father sky, walk with you side by side. Holy creator, mother earth, father sky, walk with you side by side. Holy creator, mother earth, father sky, walk with you side by side. Yo, always ask permission, only take what you need. It's time to flip the script of this capitalist greed. Yo, pay her close attention, spread around the seeds. Voices to the marginalized, empowerment to lead. Feed the holy with your tears, beautiful words and poetry. Listen and respect of all living beings. I came here to remind you, you are of the earth. The more we reconnect, the more we find our worth. Holy creator, mother earth, father sky, walk with you side by side. Holy creator, mother earth, father sky, walk with you side by side. Holy creator, mother earth, father sky, walk with you side by side. Holy creator, mother earth, father sky, walk with you side by side. Holy creator, mother earth, father sky, walk with you side by side. Mother earth, I walk with you. Okay.
Oh, so much fun. I want to acknowledge the wild abbot of Mystic Monastery, Jerry Anderson, because he sent me a text message a few weeks ago saying, "Where's Sister Stone? We haven't had Sister Stone on for a while." So I'm going to put the spotlight on Jerry for a moment. Coming to us from Puerto Rico. And so he reminded me, and I reached out and said, yeah, should be perfect for this show. And, Sister Stone, thank you for what you brought up, because our relationship to the earth and to life, it's so much, people get hooked just on the relationship to their main partner or their family member, but it's about the relationship to life that you always embody in your music and that you did so beautifully in this song. So thank you for bringing that consciousness into tonight's show.
Thank you.
I also want to let people know you can get all things Sister Stone by going to her website. It's sister-stone.com. sister-stone.com. And she's got all sorts of stuff. Tell us about this masterclass that you're doing.
Yeah, that's called Rewilding Your Relationship to Money. It's learning to give and receive with ease and grace, because I believe that everything is just about giving and receiving, again, like relationships. So how do we learn to open up our receptors to give and receive, and how do we be more like nature in the way that nature innately is constantly giving and receiving? And so it's a way to kind of understand ourselves as nature and work with money the way we have to, because we live in the system, through understanding how nature functions. So all of my work, I do business coaching and facilitation training as well for counsel and support leaders in understanding how we can embody nature as a way of being through life, but also through creating our businesses in the world.
Beautiful. Well, you know, talk about relationship. There's another really tricky relationship that most of us have is our relationship to money and to abundance. So thank you for all of your wonderful work in helping us with our relationships. And Sister Stone's going to be back. She's going to do another song for us a little bit later on in the show. And we're going to hear about a live event that she's participating in. So we're going to talk about that next time around.
Thank you. See you
Absolutely.
soon.
So good to have you back with us. Well, I'm about to introduce Mike Dyer, and he's been on my shows a few times. I think mostly on the Straight Talk show. And Mike, he's one of these guys who has had a really extraordinary life. It's a life that many of us can only imagine because it's so different from how we grew up. And the way he has turned his life around from a very, very impossible to imagine difficult childhood into his dedication to make the world a better place. He's worked with clients ranging from inner city youth, foster children, juvenile delinquents, college-bound teenagers, but he also works very much in all sorts of levels, corporate, universities, drug and alcohol rehab centers. He has worked with just about every imaginable race, culture, and economic stratosphere. And he succeeds with everybody because he's got such a big heart, so much compassion, as well as his wonderful wisdom. So, Michael Dyer, thank you so much for joining us again tonight. And I'm so glad you're now part of the RelationFlix family.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate you. Sending you love and appreciation and beauty because you are. Hey, everybody. Michael Dyer. I guess my story goes a little like this. All my life, I've been looking outside myself for love, searching here and there, looking for someone to love me because no one taught me as a kid how to love myself. No one even directed me into that direction. Like, hey, you know what? You first got to love yourself. You first got to appreciate yourself. You got to approve of yourself. So I've spent my whole life looking for approval outside of myself. And because I was looking for love outside of myself, I found myself not being authentic. Can you imagine, you're hungry, right? You haven't eaten for 12 days and somebody got a piece of cracker, but you're starving. So what I found myself doing is that because I wanted a bite of that cracker, I found myself saying what I wanted them, what they wanted me to hear, what they wanted to hear. I found myself doing things that I thought they might want me to do, which made me inauthentic in my communication. So I found a lot of my relationship wasn't real. It was like if they found out who I really was, would they still like me? Would they still love me? Would they still approve of me? And so I would be nervous when I went out on a date because I said, hope I don't say the wrong thing. Hope I don't say the wrong thing. And so in my journey, it's about how do I fall in love with myself? And the first time I realized that I used to blame everybody else for my happiness or for my sadness, I did 10 days of meditation with Vipassana. And as I was trying to meditate, the teacher was telling me to meditate, focus on your breathing, focus on your breathing. I heard this voice say, boy, this is crazy. What are you doing here? You're going to die alone. Nobody loves you. What do you think you're doing? It was saying everything negative. And I started talking to that voice. I said, why are you saying this to me? Why are you doing this to me? And it began to go back to the fact is why sometimes I used to have these suicidal thoughts. Why sometimes I was like, you know what, I don't love myself. How I don't approve of myself. And nobody else loved me. So I spent my whole life trying to find that love. So what I realized is that there's different aspects to our beingness. And so what I did is that I learned to begin to go back and talk to little Mikey when he was 6 years old or 5 years old. And I want you to think about this for a minute. Maybe you want to practice this, where that you put your little inner child or your 5-year-old self in a chair and you in a chair and you say to that person, like, for example, let's say if I was talking to my 5-year-old self, I would say, hey, little man, why are you afraid? He might say, because I don't feel safe. I don't feel like I'm safe. Baby, I'm here with you. I got you. I got you. No, you don't. You've let me down too many times. I know, and I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for letting you down. but I'm here now. I want to be here for you, but I'm going to need your help. Why are you going to need my help? Because we got to do it together. We're in this together. And what I realized is by having that conversation, a healing happens. See, I used to think that those thoughts were my thoughts, not realizing it was that little boy who was abandoned. It was that little boy who was molested when he was little. Because I couldn't understand, why is this big, strong dude is afraid? Why would I be afraid? I could probably beat up everybody in the room, I'm thinking to myself. And I realized it wasn't me, it was that little Mikey. And so what I want you to do is tap into that part of you that says, I don't know if I can do it. And I found myself looking for a relationship, but I realized when I was no longer looking for a relationship, when I was no longer looking for approval, a relationship would come. As soon as I surrender, it would come. So I realized that the biggest relationship is with myself. I love you just the way you are. I studied with USM, and we did a thing where you have to forgive yourself. And I might say, to myself, if you have anything you want, you can do it as well, but you can put your hands on your heart and say, I forgive myself for judging myself as being unworthy. I forgive myself for judging myself as being scared. I forgive myself for judging myself for not feeling that I'm enough. And then you go into the truth is, I am worthy. The truth is, I am beautiful. The truth is that I am worthy of love. The truth is, right where I stand is love itself. The truth is, I am made in the image and likeness of love. And love surrounds me right here, right now. And as we begin to do this exercise, see, everything else is secondary. All the other love is secondary. The main relationship is with oneself, with nature. When you fall in love with yourself, something magical happens. And it's not going to be easy. I created these cards called Authentic Connection. And one of the questions is, how can someone prove their love to you? And I realized that a lot of people didn't know. But most important is, how can you prove your love to yourself? How can you prove your love to yourself when things are looking terrible, when things are looking bad, when things are looking like you're looking terrible today? How can you prove your love to yourself? That's the work. Spending time with yourself, loving yourself. Take a deep breath, everyone. And realize that breath is loving on you. Realize that the very atmosphere around you is loving on you. Realize that the ground or the earth you're standing on is loving on you. Realize that the walls around you is loving on you. Realize that every beat of your heart is loving on you. See, when you understand that God is everywhere and love is everywhere, then you're being loved on all the time. And I didn't know that. You realize you're being loved on right now, where you stand. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to do anything. Love itself is breathing you, moving through you. And so in my course, we will learn and practice, because it takes practice. It takes practice. Practice falling in love. Practice falling in love. And I'm telling you, it's not that easy, but you can do it. I remember the first time I looked in the mirror and I said to that person in the mirror, I love you just the way you are. He said, I said, I love you just the way you are. But look how poor you are. Okay, I love you just the way you are. And it took a minute, because I felt like I was lying to myself. That voice was saying all the reason why I was not lovable. So it is work. But to prove your love to yourself is willing to give yourself that work. Willing to put in that time, And so we would do that. I love you. I appreciate you. I felt like I've talked too long. But I got a card called Authentic Connection. I think you guys may have seen it. These questions are questions that you can begin to ask yourself or ask your partner and get to know each other. Because sometimes we fall in love with the idea of the person and not who the person really is. This gives you opportunity and an excuse to ask questions that you would never dare to ask. Appreciate you, love you, thank God for you. So be it. I'm complete.
Oh, Michael, we always love having all that you have to share. And I'm screen sharing right now your cards that people can get. And I've got a deck of them. They're beautiful. In fact, as I scroll down, I notice, hey, who's that good-looking guy giving a testimonial for you?
It's beautiful.
These cards are so beautiful. And there's something about this strong man that you are, Michael, talking so wisely about supporting our inner child. And we all have an inner child. As a relationship coach, if there's someone in your world that's hard for you, see the little 5-year-old. See that person that you judge as the 5-year-old who just wants to be loved or just wants to be heard. And Michael, you help us to remember that, and your cards help us with that so beautifully. I also want to point people to his other website, which is his main website, which is how you can get coaching from him. He is an experiential mindfulness trainer. Now, let's just look at those 3 words together, because that's Mike Dyer. Experiential, mindfulness, and trainer. And I love the name of your website. It's coachwithzen.com. Coachwithzen.com.
Thank you, Scott.
Oh man, thank you. And again, everybody, you can get him on the RelationFlix platform. And you can also get his cards, go to his website. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you with us.
Appreciate
I'll see
you.
you again soon. Okay. I have a feeling that I still had it on mic. I guess everybody wanted to have even more time to really make sure they got Mike's website down. So let's give that a try again, okay? Here we go. We really are one. Isn't it amazing how on this show, and the shows that we do, we get a chance to see all these remarkable human beings and how we all kind of weave together. Sheza and Stephen and I were all at that original Hawaii Tantra Festival event a few years ago, and it's just a wonderful way that we're all weaving together. So some of you are brand new to the Global Peace Tribe. Maybe this is the first time you've watched our show, and some of you are regulars. All of you are welcome. And this is where I get to share with you some of the amazing things that are taking place within the Global Peace Tribe. Deepak Chopra. I did a pre-recorded interview with Deepak on Friday, and it was great to talk to him again. He's been a guest on Saturday Night Alive a few times. I've known Deepak for 30 years. I first booked him on the NBC talk show, The Other Side, that I was a producer on. So it's been amazing watching him. And he's got a brand new book out all about abundance. We're going to have to get Sister Stone to come and play her song on Deepak's book launch day. I'm going to check with her and see if she's up for that. That would be really cool, actually. I'm getting a thumbs up from her. Are you willing to share the stage with Deepak, Sister Stone? Yeah? Okay.
I think they'll be okay.
Yeah? Okay. All right. So he's going to do a full hour and a half program with us in the Global Peace Tribe, and now hopefully with Sister Stone, on March 7th from 5:30 till 7 o'clock Pacific time, 8:30 till 10 o'clock Eastern. And it'll be just Deepak in a Zoom meeting format, so you guys can turn your cameras on if you want, interact with him. He's going to do a lecture, he's going to lead a meditation, and when you register, you get a copy of his book, a signed copy, as a matter of fact. Now you want to register right away. Save $5, and it's going to be a great event. I'll be hosting it. Deborah Juicy will be there. So join us for Deepak Chopra and now hopefully Sister Stone. That's going to be really fun. If you haven't already gotten your tickets for the Valentines concert, we talked about it earlier. Kristen Hoffman and Cornflower, both of them together, leading an amazing concert. So please, definitely get your tickets. The link is in the Zoom room and in the chat box. And again, thank you so much, Jan Kaplan, for putting those links up for us. I also want to, we raise a lot of money through Saturday Night Live and now through the Awakening World. And we actually don't have a nonprofit that we're raising money for tonight. So we're going to actually ask you if you'd be willing to donate to us, to the Global Peace Tribe. We are growing. We do support artists, as Kristen talked about. And we are expanding, and we need your support. You'll notice that we don't really have a sponsor for most of our shows now. And so you are our sponsors. And so it's actually really easy to donate. This is a tax deductible donation. It goes through our friends at Unify. You just take your camera, take your cell phone, put it on camera function, and go towards it, and boom, it comes up how you can donate. Or if you're just on your computer, go to supportgpt.com. supportgpt.com. And there's a lot of wonderful things that we're working on. We want to continue to grow our audience. We want to do some expansion. We want to reach more and more people and help them to really know about the amazing musical artists, teachers, presenters that you all are meeting through the Awakening World and through all of the different projects of the Global Peace Tribe. We've just added the Self-Love Show every Thursday morning. Is now part of the Global Peace Tribe family with my partner Trish and her partners Dawn, partners in collaboration and teaching. So your support is really appreciated. Whether it's $5 or $500, any amount, even when it's $5, I'm so grateful. As I go through and I see you donate, it's like, wow, thank you. So I promise anybody who donates, as I see it coming in, I do give you my appreciation no matter what amount. So thank you very much for that. The last thing that I want to let you people know about, listen to me, let everybody know about, is tomorrow's Sacred Sunday show. And it is kind of the wrap up of our collaboration with Stephen and Dolphin and RelationFlix. And two more of the RelationFlix teachers are joining us, Alice Hong and Zamir Donji. And we're going to be talking about self-pleasure and self-love. As we're talking about relationship, the most important relationship we might have is to ourself. And so we're going to be really talking about practices for self-love, including something that Alice specializes in, self-pleasure. So join us. That's tomorrow morning. Our Sacred Sunday show is always at 10 o'clock in the morning on Sundays. That's Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern. And again, we're going to go deep. It's a Zoom meeting format, so you can join us in the Zoom room and turn your cameras on if you want. And we are going to do a lot of question and answer. It'll be very participatory, so I hope you'll join us tomorrow morning. So those are our Global Peace Tribe announcements. And it's wonderful that we have this amazing platform where we get to come together and grow and learn and be with each other. It's pretty exciting. And now I get to bring us back to beloved Kristen Hoffman. And she's now going to take us on a journey. And I want to invite everybody to, again, drop in, stop whatever else you're doing, other than registering for her Valentines concert. You can still do that. Now let's really all drop in to the journey that she's about to take us on. And then after her journey, we're going to go into a prayer circle. I thought we'd actually start with the music so that you kind of take us into a place. And then we're going to do our weekly prayer circle where everybody can put into the chat box or just into your consciousness, whoever you want to hold a space of prayer and grace for.
Well, I'm excited to go on a journey. This is going to be a practice which I call Solom, Sol, S-O-L, meaning light, and then a tilde, weaving with Om, A-U-M, the vibration of the universe. And as we are entering into a prayer circle after this, I want to invite you all to step into the inner prayer now. There's nothing like music to help us to tune in to deeper parts of ourselves, connect to higher parts of ourselves, and be present, breathe into a living prayer, a musical living prayer. I'd also like to invite you to send your intention into this song as it's coming forth. I like to think I'm receiving everyone's collective intention and bringing it into the music. We will literally co-create this piece, this expression together. There may be lyrics, there may be melodies, maybe chanting, maybe no lyrics. We'll see what happens. I'm just going to do my very best to receive what wants to come through this moment, honoring the subject of relationships, honoring the healing of our inner relationships, our relationships with that inner child, the younger part of ourselves that needs to come forth into this moment and is calling for healing. And how can we, in this moment, just really step into the new and presence our desire to let go and fully step into the new, forgiving ourselves and anything in the past. Just truly give yourself permission in this moment to come here into your being and love yourself fully. Here we go. Let's see what happens.
Feel the love that you are. Feel the light you've born into this moment. Feel the love that you are. Feel the light you've born into this lifeline. Feel the love that you are. Feel the light you've born into this moment. Feel the love that you are. Feel the breath of your life. Your truth is unfolding here now, here and now, unfolding the love that you are. We're here now, here now, unfolding the love that you are. You're here now, into the love of light you are unfolding. Mysteries here now, breathing the love you are.
Let's just maintain this incredible state of consciousness that Kristen has led us into. We're going to have a couple of minutes of silence. And during this time, you can pray for yourself, pray for others. Maximum grace for all of our relationships. You're welcome to put names or anyone you want into the chat box where we all can hold space. Or just keeping it within yourself. Maximum grace for ourselves, for each other, for our family members. We give thanks for our ancestral lineage and all the sacrifices our ancestors made for us to have the freedom and abundance that we enjoy today. Bless us that we may all be clear channels for Spirit to flow through in the way that Kristen demonstrates. She's such a model for connecting to Spirit and bringing it through into the human realm, into this earthly plane.
I'm getting a feeling to invite an energetic circle of healing in this prayer. And anyone who feels that you need an extra boost of love or support during this time, just energetically step into the center of the circle. And those of us who might have some extra strength and feel in wholeness at this moment, we are in the outer circle. And let's just take 1 minute and send love to those in the inner circle. And those in the inner circle practice receiving the love from those in the outer circle. And maybe even hold up your hands as we do this. If you're receiving, maybe palms up. And if you're sending love, palms out. And giving thanks that we can, in this moment, give and receive love. And honoring that voice within you that knows when it's time to give and when it's time to receive. I love you all so much.
Thank you so much, Kristen, for just the amazing places you bring us. Thank you so much. You know, I want to talk about giving and receiving. I want to encourage everyone to both give and receive from Kristen. She is so generous. And if you go to her website, it's her name, Kristen Hoffman. There's two N's at the end of Hoffman. So it's Kristin, Kristen Hoffman, HOFFMANN.com. And she provides a lot. And it's a very elaborate website. There's a lot of good things there. But I want to really direct people in the upper right-hand corner to join her membership program. And she's got a really wonderful membership program, which I joined about maybe a year ago now. And she calls it her Sonic Soul Family. And you can come in at 3 levels. Now, here's the thing we got to remember is that our musical artists do not receive support other than from us. And during these almost 2 years now of pandemic, almost all the ways that our musical artists made a living have been reduced or stopped. Festivals, conferences, canceled. Clubs, bars, restaurants where they might have played, canceled. Concerts, canceled. And so just as we've had to really go into an online reality, so do we continue to support artists like Kristen through online. And so you can come in at 3 levels, $11 a month, $33 a month. I want to encourage you to do what I do. I came in at the $77 a month. And it's one of the best investments of my life because Kristen provides so much, including once a month, a private experience where it's Kristen and a small group of us dropping into Kristen Hoffman reality, where she takes us on a journey, and it's always on a Sunday afternoon. I think it's the second or third Sunday of every month in the afternoon for Pacific time, a little bit early evening for East Coast. And it's always such a beautiful experience. So please become a member of her Sonic Soul family. And there's a lot of other things that you get, discounts and access. She also provides, if you come in at the higher level, special events, songs at your events. So Kristen just changes our consciousness. Look at how she's impacted us tonight. Let's all support Kristen Hoffman.
Oh, thank you, Scott. Thank you so much. It would be such an honor to have anyone join my Sonic Soul family. And yes, on the second Sunday of every month at 6 p.m. Eastern, we meet for a Sonic Soul family gathering. And it's a mix of music and deep, authentic sharing. And there's always a theme, and it's always very beautiful and heart-centered.
So join now so that you're available for Sunday, February 13th. That's a week from tomorrow. And then, of course, her amazing concert with Cornflower on Valentine's night. Kristen, I love you so much. I'll see you on the 14th. I'll see you on the 13th.
Love you so much.
I'll see you on the 13th.
I'll see you on the 13th. Big love to everyone. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to go watch RelationFlix.
Speaking of which, here is the founder, Steve Rowland, to introduce our next guest.
Hey, thank you, Scott. The next guest is a RelationFlix facilitator, and I met her first online in the social media space. And when I first started experiencing her content, there was something that really struck me, and that was her uncanny ability to transmit wisdom with such a power. And it's such a unique gift to have that in a digital text written space like something like Facebook. And as soon as I started engaging with her content, something hit me that was like, yes, I would absolutely love to work with this person. She's amazing. She has a really big gift to the world and a powerful voice with big magic. And so we engaged in a conversation, and we ended up producing some content for the RelationFlix platform together. And she's got a very inspiring story coming from a very difficult past, which would easily incapacitate many people on this planet. But she's found a way to rise from the ashes and use her past as a source of medicine in the world right now. And yeah, I'm a big fan of what she advocates for. So Erika Briones, it's a pleasure to introduce you on the show.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, RelationFlix family and this amazing community. I first want to give thanks to the land, my ancestors, the ancestors of the Yaqui, the people that have passed over. I always give thanks to the land, and I ask you to also give thanks to your ancestors, because our ancestors are always teaching us in every moment. And I speak for the women who are afraid of using their voice. I speak for the women that are having sexual trauma. And I speak for the women that were the old me. And so I consider myself a writer. I'm the author of the Sacred Prostitute Chronicles. I was a former sex worker, and now I claim the name of self-pleasure shaman, and I write that in the Chronicles. And I believe all of you are self-pleasure shaman. So this came from this idea that my mom, she cleans. And instead of seeing my mom as someone who cleans for a living, I consider her a shaman. She is in spaces, always in different energy places. And so for me, I see myself clearing and cleaning the energy of shame. I clean the energy of shame. And my father was a musician, a DJ, a very sensual man. He had many lovers, and he was a speaker. But both my mom and my father had shame. They both fought, and we all know what it is to witness our parents fighting. And for me, I learned about sex and love through rape. And it was not my father. My father was an incredible man. This happened years later when I moved to Louisiana, Kenner, Louisiana in 1993. And that was the time of the Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky scandal. There was a lot of secrecy. There was so much secrecy. And so for me, I lived in half a house and half a business. It was also the house of half lies and half truths. So for me, I was taught to not say anything, to not speak up, to not use my voice. And so for me, the biggest relationship I have is clearing the energy of shame. And that is the biggest relationship we need to clear for us to come together to create peace and unity here on the planet. And so my biggest mission is to share my story authentically, even when my voice is shaking, my hands are sweating. I speak for the women that are afraid, because when someone shares, someone is inspired to say something. Someone is inspired to say, oh, you know what? I can too. It's that permission slip. And so that is my mission, to share my story. And so once I started using my voice, I realized I'm not shy. That shy conditioning, that shy programming, that was a myth. And all of these secrets, all of that shame showed up in my body, in my mental health, and the way that I relate to my partner, to the way that I relate to my body. Part of my mission is sexual confidence. And what that really is, it's about creating a relationship with my emotions, my relationship with sadness. And I believe sadness is beautiful. And I believe that confidence is beautiful. And it's really about letting go of the awkwardness, of letting go of the stories that you're telling yourself. Who are you without your story? And that is the hero's journey that I teach. And so I'm so grateful to be here, to speak from my heart, to speak from source, and know that this is more than just me. This is more than just this show. This is about creating unity and healing for the children, teaching these lessons to our children, so they know that if mom and dad are fighting, it's not something about them. They are not broken. You are not broken. You are a child of God. And even if you don't believe in God, just know that you are God. And that is my journey. And I'm so grateful for being on this platform. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Dolphin, and the RelationFlix family. I am Erika, and I'm just so grateful to be here for someone who grew up with sexual abuse for 7 years with a gun next to my bed. I am now a leader. I'm here to hold the torch and pass it forward to the next leader. And that is you, like you are the next leader. And so that is my path. And my path is to continue writing, to continue speaking, and facilitating workshops for women so they feel sexy, so they come home back to themselves. So when they see themselves in the mirror, they bow to themselves and they honor themselves. And so I'm here to share that lesson and share that, there's no shame here on the planet. When we release the shame, we are free. And that is my mission. And so thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Don't go away yet. Thank you. I'm just getting to know you, and your messages are all so powerful. And I agree. I think shame is the great human epidemic. And when we can learn how to release our shame, truly love ourselves, people then naturally want to give to others, naturally want to be of service. Self-love is never selfish. True self-love, as you know, then, when you truly learn to love yourself, then you want to give to other people. So what a remarkable journey your life has been so far. And how grateful I am feeling right now to know that you're part of the RelationFlix family and faculty, and that you're out there sharing your wisdom and your medicine to the world. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah. If you want to know more about her, of course, again, with everybody you've seen tonight, if you haven't by now, make sure you've put it in so you're going to join RelationFlix on February 14th. Join the Depth Summit now. But also, I'm sure that many of you are going to want to get more information from Erika. And so here's her website. It's her name. I'm going to spell it for you. She spells her first name Erikaa. So it's Erika, Erikaa.
It's
And her
Erika.
last...
Erika with two. Yes, you focus on the ka. I just want to.
Erika.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Erika. And how do you pronounce your last name?
Briones.
Briones. Briones. So erikabriones.com. And then once you get there, enter her site. And everybody, what you're going to want to make sure you do is register. And, she has a spot. I already did it. But right here, you put in your name and email address and claim your sexual sovereignty. She is so generous. There's all these wonderful videos that she provides. And there's a lot going on her website. Definitely go there, check it out, explore. And one of the things that I just learned was about her. And she also is with Patreon, by the way. And Patreon is what I was referencing for Kristen Hoffman. And so there's also a Patreon account. And Patreon is such an important way for us to support our artists and our friends. I support about a dozen people now through Patreon, and I want to encourage everybody to do it. So, I did not know you had Patreon until just now, but tell people a little bit about the different membership levels.
This is great. I haven't really shared about Patreon. I know that I'm very generous with my time, and I want to create a lot more writings, more meditations, and just ways of really connecting to your, releasing that sexual shame through emotional clearing. So working with the Chinese meridians and just really learning how to connect to releasing that energy that no longer serves you. It's usually a story, like Michael talked about, is usually the inner child. So usually the soul, the God, is actually our inner child that we're connecting to. So when we really connect to that inner child and say, you're okay, it's okay to be afraid, I got you, take all the time you need. This is what this technology is. And so I'm really excited to introduce this technology. And again, this is really new for me, and to introduce the Patreon. It's very vulnerable, and creating a relationship with money is another thing to create. And so that is another thing I work on, is the energy of money, because money is very connected to our sexuality. There's a lot of taboo and energy with money. And so I wanted to share that offering.
Great. Well, I want to encourage everybody to join her Patreon. And I love the titles: Patreon, Sexy Soul, Gold Water, and Rose Platinum Water. And so when you join it shows all the different things that you can get from her. She also has a wonderful, a lot of videos, including one on forgiveness. And forgiveness is so important in our relationships, starting with forgiveness of self. And it sounds like you've done some very powerful forgiveness work in your life.
Yes, it's always a journey.
Well, what a pleasure to meet you, and thank you for being who you are in the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah. So we're going to have, we still have a couple more presenters we're going to hear from. We're going to have another song from Sister Stone. But I also want to invite everybody that we're going to have a kind of a special after show that we put together for us very spontaneously. Omashar, who has played the last few weeks, is going to play music. And we're going to have a tribute to Bob Proctor, who recently passed away. And if any of you have had an experience of Bob, definitely make sure you put it in the chat box during the tribute, and we'll read it. And I might even bring some of you on camera to talk about it. Paul Sterling, who you're going to meet in a few minutes, was good friends with Bob. And so we're going to have a tribute to Bob. And then we're going to also have, whoops, wrong direction. They're coming back. Starchild and Vergari, also known as the Mystiques, will be with us live playing music. And so their music, and we've got Omashar is going to play music. So we're going to have wonderful music. And then you're going to meet Emily Oram, who is one of my closest friends. And she is going to be talking about next week's show. And we're going to kind of start the dialogue about next week's show, which is titled How True Love Creates Heaven on Earth. So we're going to start that dialogue. We're also going to take questions from you. here we have these amazing relationship experts. And so we're going to take questions in the after show about your relationship issues. And you can start putting those questions if you click where it says Q&A. Just start putting your questions in there. So we've got a lot left to take place, and really happy to have you with us. One of the presenters that's a big part of RelationFlix, who's also part of Love Coach Academy, is Jessica Osterday. And I love Jessica. She's a brilliant relationship coach, a lot of fun, and right now she's in Kauai and she doesn't have good internet service. So we did a pre-record with her where she kind of shares her magic, her wisdom. And to be really honest, obviously I have access to a lot of coaches because I train coaches. And kind of being vulnerable here, when I've hit hard spots, Jessica is who I've turned to. She does beautiful, powerful work with something called brain spotting. And she has personally supported me. She has supported many clients that I've referred her way. And so this is a pre-recorded video that I did with her so that you could meet Jessica, who's now a big part of the RelationFlix faculty. So let me do a couple things. I'm going to put her on. Just takes me a moment to find her here. Here we go. Jessica also is very available right now when she gets back from Kauai for coaching. So if any of you are wanting coaching, definitely she's somebody that you can go to. Okay, here we go. I am with one of my favorite human beings on the planet. This is Jessica Osterday, and she is a brilliant love coach, and she's a trauma-informed life coach. What does that mean?
Scott, I'm so excited to be here today, and it's so lovely to be here on The Awakening World. And a trauma-informed life coach is, well, basically, I come from the perspective that, we each have a past, shockingly. We each have disturbing experiences or unintegrated or uncomfortable memories from the past, and they often inform how we show up in the present moment. So when we talk about being trauma informed, I come from a position of deep compassion and empathy, while also directly meeting those trauma moments of the past in order to create integration so that they don't run our present stories.
Beautiful. And then where does brain spotting come in?
So brain spotting is a deep love of my life. It's a way to access the trauma through the midbrain, which basically sits at the top of the brainstem. So when we have trauma, what happens is that all of this amazing higher function that we use to do tasks and keep track of life and act as our adult selves when we are not triggered, a lot of this energy goes down when we get triggered into the survival mechanism. And that lies in the brainstem. That reactivity, that response is a part of our survival tactics, right? So a lot of our energy gets diverted down. And when we have a traumatic experience or a disturbing experience, often it will be separate because it happens when we're triggered and not so much in our conscious mind. It will sort of be stored in the brain outside of the hippocampus, which adds context and meaning, and our conscious self, or adult mind, so to speak. And so what we do with brain spotting is we actually can directly access those trauma stories in a different way using the visual cortex. So what we say is where we look affects how we feel. And we use that in order to create healing at a really deep somatic level. So there's a real integration that happens. And it's really magical and profound what happens for people because we can draw in internal resources that we already are. So things like our true selves or our spirituality, and neurobiologically wrap these difficult places so that they can complete the cycle and allow us to be more in the present.
So, as to be honest for my audience, I've actually worked with Jessica personally. Not only did I train her as a love coach, but I've actually gone to her for support, and her work is remarkable. I'd love for you, Jessica, to share with us maybe one or two success stories. You don't have to name names, but people that came to you with describe the issue, and when they were done, where were they at?
Yeah. So typically people come to me with anxiety. So I work a lot with well, because there's a lot of sexual dysfunction, unfortunately, in our society. I do a lot of sexual assault work. And so people come in with this feeling of maybe hypervigilance, which basically means there's a low grade anxiety underneath everything that we do. It's more difficult to relax. It's more difficult to feel replenished. There's always a sense of sort of this feeling that something could go wrong at any moment. And so I'm thinking in particular about one case where someone came to me for narcissistic abuse and also sexual assault trauma. And it's been really remarkable the way, because what happens is while we're clearing out space through doing this deep, intense work, we're creating a really safe place to do that in, and people are building their internal strength, internal confidence, internal self-love, self-compassion simultaneously. And so as we get stronger, we're able to process more. And what happens is that we get to let go, well, for her, she got to let go of a lot of the hypervigilance and is very, very differently present in her life. And so it comes through in small ways, typically in the beginning. And then over time, it's just like, oh my God, I can't believe, like, I can remember her coming to me and being like, I just asked for a raise. You know, it's like these little things that we don't think, whereas before she would have had all of the story about why she shouldn't and would have held back and been quiet. She just did it, you know? So, and I think that that's really the benefit of doing deep work is it comes from such a true deep place when we heal it, that our actions come out of us in alignment with that deep truth.
Beautiful. And thank you for the remarkable work that you do. And
Oh.
I know how compassionate you are, but I guess I'd love to ask you, for our audience to know, how do you incorporate empathy and compassion, some of maybe what you learned with Love Coach Academy, into your work?
Yeah, I mean, tremendous stuff, right? Because okay, so this is like one of my favorite things. Basically, there's this point, and for everybody, it looks a little bit different, where, you know, we always hear this pop psych idea of reparenting, right? Like, and okay, it's a great idea. It's awesome. Like, I'm not knocking it in any way, shape, or form. But if we actually don't know what self-compassion is, like to have our own backs, because often that was not modeled when we were younger, and it is not a part of our internal dialogue, right? So what I perceive to be internal mothering or internal parenting is starting to have self-compassion with that internal voice. And so I think that that's how, you know, of course, as the practitioner, I'm helping to create a space where I'm the freaking cheerleader. I will mama bear for you and fight for your best good, because I know I can see people's true selves. Like, I know what's there for them. I know what's on the other side, and I will, like, you know, show up. But there's also that way of holding a really strong, compassionate frame for people, because in that sense, I'm starting to mirror what's possible for their internal voice. And there's that cheerleader and also that compassion. So it's just that, like, that empathy that we start to embody in our own beings as we move through and move forward.
And I want to say you really are truly a compassionate cheerleader. You really are. It's
Thank
so,
you.
I always felt so safe coming to you. So
Oh, thanks, Scott.
uh, it's interesting because, of course, we're doing this on Zoom as opposed to live. What's it like for you working with your clients on Zoom and dealing with
Yeah.
such tender work? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I get this question all of the time. And yeah, to be quite honest, when the pandemic first started, I was a little bit skeptical as well. I wasn't sure how it was going to work. But there's a couple of things. So there are certain situations where it is better to be in person, and certain attachment things, right? And if it's like, if a client's not moving for a long time, then, which is very rare, we'll figure out a way to do it in person. But largely, I find that people feel safe. When people feel safe in their own homes, it's just easier. They have that added benefit of being in a familiar place and having the safety around them and having their dog there or their animal there, which can be so incredible for deep work. And it's kind of like here, like as I'm speaking to you, you can feel my energy coming through. Like I'm not stopping just here in my space just as much as Scott. I can feel your love and I can feel you being present with me as I'm present with you. And so I think that comes through regardless with Zoom. And Scott, you know what? I've lost sound on you here.
That's because I was muted.
That explains it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's this thing you have to unmute yourself. I should know by now. I was saying that when I worked with you, I really appreciated being able to just literally roll over and go to sleep afterwards. Not having to
It
get in the
is.
car and drive. And
Yeah.
yes, I would be cuddled. Everybody knows about Scott and his dogs. My dogs are famous, and this is the weekend that RelationFlix is launching. And of course, you're a love coach. You're now a RelationFlix coach. And tell me about what that means to you. Tell me about any excitement and enthusiasm about being part of RelationFlix.
To be honest, I feel I am so honored to be teaching with the other teachers on that platform. And I've just been blown away by the energy. And every time I talk to Dolphin and Steven, I'm like, you guys are so amazing. Like their level of aptitude and mastery in communication and compassion with themselves, the team, and I'm imagining many people in their lives benefit from this, blow me away. So I've just been really sort of in witness to that beauty unfolding, and just really honored to be a part of such an incredible group of teachers. I mean, I really respect so many people on the platform. I'm a little bit like, wow. That's my honest truth. Yeah.
Well, it's
And
okay to be a little bit starstruck. It's okay.
it's
Because we're
great.
starstruck with you too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, thank you. That's so sweet.
All right. Well, while this is playing, you are in Kauai. So
Yes.
sending you much love and aloha. And thanks for taking some time to join us tonight, Jessica.
Oh,
And I'll
thank
show
you so
everybody how they
much.
can reach you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on. It's just a true pleasure to be here.
Cool. Not only is she brilliant, but does she not have the greatest laugh you've ever heard in your life? Her laugh is just so wonderful. So we love Jessica Osterday. And again, you're going to obviously find her on the RelationFlix platform, and that's the place to go. But I also want to just briefly take you to her website. And again, it's her name, which is Jessica Osterday. Jessica Osterday, and here she is. It's spelled Osterday, Jessica Osterday. And you can book a consultation. And as you've heard me say a few times now, she's wonderful. I've worked with her, and I highly recommend her. Stephen, is there anything you'd like to add about Jessica?
Oh, she's lovely. And I put it in the chat box that we recorded a course together that's called Trauma Healing Basics. And it's just such a great low-hanging fruit, digestible, and delivered in Jessica's signature charm type of manner and fashion, way to really just start to lean in gently into some past pain points that kind of keep coming up in our life. And yeah, she just holds such a great space and delivered her content in a way that is just super approachable. So yeah, I really, really loved working with her, and I'm happy to have her on the platform.
Great. All right, it is time for some more music, and we get to hear one more song from Sister Stone. And what do you have for us this time?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm ready and back and so inspired by everyone's sharing and wisdom and courage and beautiful, beautiful messages. And for me, it was challenging to choose a song. I was going, oh, but I have a song on that topic and I have a song on that topic too. And so I decided to share a song called Wholeness, because so much of what we're talking about tonight is about relationships and how important it is that the relationship that we have with ourselves and sourcing our love from within is really how we find potentially another person in the world that we might be in relation with that is also sourcing their love from within, and that we make a whole relationship from two whole people, and all of the healing and everything that goes into that. So this song is a little bit about my journey into coming into my wholeness, and the beauty and the challenge of that. So here we go. Yo, sometimes we just gotta go back to the basics of life and remember where we came from, that we got everything we need to thrive. Today I woke up whole, got everything I need in my soul, not looking outside for anything, just ready to spread my wings, be in open receptivity, like the moon she's looking back at me, blooming like the flowers in the spring, and the sound of her melodies ring. Yeah, learning to source all my love from within, feeling my body, moving it with the wind, integrating all the teachings from this medicine, one heart, one mind, I give myself to it, we have everything that we need, water, air, fire, food, a beating heart, I stay in gratitude, we have everything that we need, water, air, fire, food, a beating heart, I stay in gratitude, cultivate the soil of your inner landscape, get your body, mind, and soul in good shape, surround yourself with people who want to see you grow, look to your values and make it all, fire in my heart, fire in my soul, got a lot of fire and it's out of control. Walls around my heart, turn it into art, been outsourcing love for way too long. have everything that we need. Water, air, fire, food. A beating heart. I stay in gratitude. We have everything that we need. Water, air, fire, food. A beating heart. I stay in gratitude. Yo, the energy in me is so fucking strong. Soft on the outside, hard on the inner. Peeling back the layers, speaking all my prayers. There's a lot of shame and there's no one to blame. Nothing to gain, ready to break the chain. I'm dismembering, I'm remembering parts of my name, letting go of the shame. Ooh, I'm coming in, I'm not who I have been. Teaming with my inner child, no longer exiled. Loving every part, healing my heart. Loving every part, healing my heart. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you. Hey.
Oh, we love you. Look at all this love coming your way as we go to gallery view for a minute. Wow. That was perfect. Perfect song.
Thanks.
You know, I know that you're excited because you've got actually a live gig coming up. And it's coming up in 2 weeks on Sunday, February 20th. That's 2 weeks from tomorrow at the Hacienda Wellness Facility. And where is that? And tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing.
It's a beautiful retreat center in San Diego, and just a huge honor to open for Londrell. I don't know how many people know of him, but he's an amazing mindfulness practitioner. It's a wellness coach and also a rapper and a poet, a spoken word artist who's gotten pretty big. And it's beautiful to know that there are people out there that are getting so big and having so much medicine and making so much impact in the world. So I am totally honored because this is probably one of the biggest opportunities I've had with music to open up for someone like him. And it's like a mini festival on February 20th. And if you're in this California area, I definitely highly recommend attending and coming to see me perform live.
And look at the whole flow. It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning with a cacao ceremony and breath work, movement, sound activation. There's vendors there, energy activation. And then in the evening, it goes into the music. And Dijon, who I know Dijon actually, he's been on my shows before. And then Sister Stone, and then Londrell. So that's going to be amazing. There's just a few images of what this facility looks like. And so anybody in Southern California, make your way down to be live with Sister Stone and her friends. And hopefully we will see you then on March 7th with Deepak Chopra.
Yes. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. All right. Well, I asked my good friend Paul Sterling to go as our last former presenter tonight. So you could kind of comment on what we've seen and pick up some of the pieces. Paul is brilliant. He's my roommate. And obviously we geek out and talk about relationship all day long. He's wise. He's a wise man. I've known Paul for a long time, and I don't know anybody who has invested more time or more money studying with the great teachers. And that's where he knows all of them personally. He has worked deeply with Tony Robbins and with Marshall Rosenberg. He flew all the way to Europe to study with Marshall. And with Marshall Thurber that he's worked with, and Bob Proctor, who he's going to do the tribute for tonight. So Paul just takes in all this wisdom and then he shares it with his clients. and also through his teaching. He does a couple online shows each week through Love Coach Academy. And so it's my pleasure to turn it over to my roommate right downstairs, Paul Sterling.
Scott. I think it was Esther Perel who said that the quality of your relationships based on the quality of your communication. And what I add to that is when your communication falls apart, so does your relationship. And part of what I'm hearing everybody talk about tonight is not only how we communicate with each other, but with ourselves and our nervous system. You know, I love what Mike was saying about the nervous system, and the other Michael was talking about our communication with our inner child. And it's just like, I'm blown away by all the amazing things here. And so I'm going to talk a little bit, and I'm going to share my screen here about communication. And it's not what I learned growing up. I learned how to talk, and I learned that he who was the cruelest and the loudest won. He who used the most force. My dad was a brilliant man. I still miss him dearly, and he could be a real bastard. And his thing was, he said, the best defense is a strong offense. And so that's the kind of communication that happened around the house. And so it really took a transformation for me to end up writing a book called Argue Less and Love More, because my house was argue more and love less. And that's really transformed. And so I'm going to share my screen here. I hope. Come on, screen. It's running a little slow. Here we go. And I'm going to dive into the concepts here. If you think about communication, what do we really want? We want to be able to talk so your lover wants to listen. We want to listen so your lover wants to talk. And my studies with Marshall Rosenberg, I wrote the book that went alongside of his book. His book is Nonviolent Communication, and it's sort of how to communicate. My book is Argue Less, Love More, and it's about what not to do. It's because there are 5 triggers that if we trigger our partner, we're no longer talking to our partner, we're talking to their reptile brain. And if you've ever tried to communicate with a reptile, it doesn't always go well. So what I want to do is give people an idea of what's happening there, and then how do you reconnect? And if we look at it, where are you now? Are you in crisis, conflict, stuck in a rut? Good, great. And it's like, I want to give you a visual picture of what's possible. And the idea is, how do you move from down here in the 911 zone all the way up to living the dream? And that's why I love being part of Stephen and Dolphin's program and working with Scott and learning from him, because it's the tools to take you from 911 to having the relationship of your dreams, and especially one with yourself. And if we're trying to look at how do you get people to lean in versus lean out, because lean out is when you get resistance, resentment, regret. And I want to make sure I keep myself on time here, Scott. So this is my little handwritten note. Normally I have these beautiful slides, but this is the essence of what I'm talking about right now. And we're going along, life is good, and we hit what I call a speed bump. Somebody does one of the 5 triggers. They either case build against us, story tell, message assume, cup stuff, or the fatal S. And once we get triggered, this is where all the power is. And oftentimes it happens so quick, we don't know that we actually have a choice. We think that we have to react, that we can't respond. But here's what happens when we react. We either dominate, whoops, by the way, my spelling's very creative, so that's supposed to say dominate there. So we either dominate or get dominated. That's the world of reaction, and there's no love in there. And what we want to be able to do is, rather than react, we want to learn how to respond. And all the tools you're going to learn, or all the tools you've ever learned about relationships, communication, and all the rest of that, that's when we're up here in our respond, not in our react. When we're in our react, when I'm in my reaction, I don't have access to those tools. I've got to get back into my heart and away from that. So I'm going to buzz through this real quick. Some of my teachers, I'm taking a 20-minute conversation and want to boil it down to 6 minutes. When we're communicating, what do we want? Here are the 3 things everybody wants. We want to be heard. We want to be understood. We want to be valued. It is simple. It's not easy. And what happens is if we don't feel heard, understood, and valued, we get louder and louder. And the problem is normally the way we communicate almost guarantees that someone's not going to want to listen to us. So communication gets more and more painful. And I'm going to zip through here and I'm going to show you the 4 areas. And if you want to dive deep into this, go to, we've been saying RelationFlix. I did a long talk on it today. Stephen's got this information here, but here's what happens when I communicate, and I'm communicating from my head right now, telling you how this works. When we're communicating, we either see our partner as the enemy or the ally. They either look dangerous to us or safe. If they look dangerous and they're the enemy, we get combative. And how do we communicate? We make demands, we use force, we use bad, stupid, wrong, and we try to force and get our needs met. Over here, when we want to feel safe and they look like the enemy, rather than be vulnerable, we get critical and use judgments and expectations, sarcasms, complaints, and we avoid being vulnerable, making requests. Up here, it feels dangerous, but they're actually our ally. We can collapse. We don't feel safe sharing from the heart. I trust you, but I'm afraid because of my past. This is especially the history, like when Jessica talked about clearing up the history. If you don't clear up your history, you're living with a lot of fear and shame, and you can collapse easily. The last part, and this is where I work with couples to get to, is being courageous. To be open, honest, intimate, vulnerable. Can you be with your feelings and somebody else's feelings while you're communicating? And what I created is an app for the phone called Bridging the Gap Between Us. And it's a cool course, and it's about how to be heard, understood, and valued in your relationship. So Scott, how much more time do I have? Another minute or?
Yes.
I'll go another quick minute and then
you can go another minute or 2, Paul. Another minute or 2 is fine. We're doing good on time.
And then we'll dive into any questions people have about relationships, because Scott said we were going to do that. Now, what I want you to think about is when we're communicating, we're speaking in 3 different languages. There's a language of the head, which is all about logic, thinking, reasons, facts, figures, and there you get rewarded for knowledge. We get the language of the heart, which is all about relating, love, connection, feelings, needs. Forget the facts. I don't care about the facts. How do you feel? Vulnerability is the key. And this is what I call, and you can't really see that. I'll change the color. LOL, the language of love, not laughing out loud, but the language of love. And this is where NVC comes in, nonviolent communication. And then the third one is down here when we're communicating the language of hurt and we're in reaction. And the only thing that's important there is we're afraid of loss and we're trying to protect ourselves. We want to be safe. Who is the enemy? Where is the danger? How can I protect myself? Vulnerability is the enemy when we're here. Now, I'm going to give you one walk-away tip. This is worth the whole thing. Well, there's plenty of great things, but this right here, when somebody's triggered, don't try to use logic on them. Don't try to reason with them. Don't even try to get emotional. What you want to do is get them out of their reptile brain as quickly as possible. And the best way to do this is a simple question. Honey, what do you need to feel safe right now? Now, I teach this, and when I've been in a relationship with somebody and they've used my own technique on me and come to me and say, honey, what do you need to feel safe right now? And you know what? It works. It works even with me, because what it does is it lets the reptile brain in me know that this person cares about me, how I'm feeling, and they want me to be safe. So I don't have to defend myself from them. They're part of my team, and then I can be vulnerable with them and move from there, from my hurt up into my heart. And it's a totally transformational skill. And I work with couples basically around the world, helping them remember why they fell in love in the first place. So what ends most relationships is not a lack of love. What ends most relationships is when people run into problems that are bigger than their skill sets. My parents got a divorce after 18 years. They didn't stop loving each other. They didn't stop loving each other till my dad died. My mother still loves him, but they could not get along anymore. And what makes for a painful divorce is when you still love somebody, but you can't get along anymore because you don't have the tools, the trainings, the techniques to create breakthroughs. And so many of the speakers tonight may not have used the exact words, but really are experts in creating breakthroughs in your life. And that's what this is all about. And I totally appreciate what Scott's put on, because I watch this whole event that's happening. There might be 100,000 people watch this. And I was there on day one when he was creating it. And it's been an amazing vision that he's held. And he works all week long, like all week long. This is, we get to show up on the night of the event, but man, he busts his butt to really produce something amazing for everybody. So thank you, Scott. And maybe we could ask questions.
Yeah, and you know what we're going to do, Paul? First of all, let me take people. People are asking about how they can get more of you. So you've got your Facebook events on Thursdays and Sundays. What's the easiest way for people to connect to that?
Well, actually, the best way they can get a hold of me is to go to Argue Less, Love More. Right there, you've got it on the screen. They can get a free copy of my book. If they want to spend $20, they can buy it on Amazon. If they want a free copy, they go there, put their name and email in. It will send them a PDF. They can watch a 15-minute video about the 3 things that create the perfect storm in relationships. And then they can set up an appointment, and we'll spend about 15 minutes, 20 minutes together and look and see what's going on. Do they want to get clear where they are, where they want to go, and do they want to break through? So
fantastic.
Thank you.
And so what we're going to do, Paul, is we're going to kind of wrap up the official show, and we're going to go into the after show and take questions and answers during the after show for you and whichever of our presenters stay with us. So stick around. We're going to get a lot more Paul Sterling during the after show, including his sharing about Bob Proctor and answering some of your questions. But I want to thank everybody for watching the main show. Now, I recognize that for people like Kristen Hoffman, who's still with us, God bless you, Kristen, and all of our East Coasters, it's 11:30 at night. So we're going to officially end the main show, but we've got a great after show. We're going to have Fanny and Vigari and the Mystique's going to play music. Omashar is going to play some music. We're going to answer questions. So definitely stick around. We're going to do the tribute to Bob Proctor. So this is the official close of the main show, but please stick around for the after show. I'm going to put the spotlight on Stephen and Dolphin and give them a chance to share anything that they want to share as kind of a conclusion here as well. Oh, and Dolphin is multiplied. There's multiple people in the box.
My better half is here.
Hey guys, what a great show. And just please maybe remind people a little bit about the Depth Summit, what's happening tomorrow, and any final thoughts that you have.
Go ahead, Dolphin, if you want to step in.
Cool. Yeah, so, we're 2 days into the Depth Summit. We have another full day tomorrow. We get started at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And we have some really special speakers. One of our headliners, Kelsey Grant, will be speaking midday. And the schedule is on the depthsummit.com landing page, so you can check out the schedule for tomorrow's speakers. There's just a ton of goodness. And as Stephen was saying earlier, we have something really unique. Some friends and colleagues of ours, Damian Bowler and Caroline Naughton, they're going to do a game show, but like a refreshed version of a game show. It's going to include astrology. It's going to include human design, some really interesting kind of human dynamic interpretation. And the group that comes in to participate is going to give us a kind of behind the curtain look at human behavior and human choices and where attraction comes from. So they're going to play out some really neat, fun stuff at the end of the day to close the summit out. And again, for those of you that haven't joined already, we would love for you to join us. The ticket is free, so the fact that you've missed a couple days is not a problem. You can come and just enjoy the value that's on offer tomorrow. And for those of you that want to register for the VIP ticket, that gives you access to the whole weekend. So anything you've missed, you get to come back to. And it gives you access to the lowest price you're ever going to see for a full year subscription to our new platform. So again, we're super excited that we're in the home stretch of this launch. And for us, this is like the very beginning. This is our first offering of this platform, and we're going to continue to refine it, to add to it, to innovate it. And we want to just build a massive community of people that are ready to step in to learn how to love themselves more deeply and fully, to learn how to bring their authentic voice to the world, and to learn how to have that all be in service to the very best relationships that are possible. So that's what we're up to. We hope you join us tomorrow and onward from there. So Stephen, you can fill in any gaps that I left.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Dolphin. Well said as usual. And yeah, I just want to say again, thank you, Scott, for having us be on your show this weekend. And it's great to be here and collaborating with you. And it's been amazing collaborating with you on the RelationFlix project as well. And yeah, super stoked to have your content on the platform. And yeah, we hope some of you will come play with us in the RelationFlix sandbox. And yeah, I really, really believe that working on ourselves in this capacity and refining our skill sets with relationships, like it's great to harvest the benefits of that in our romantic relationships, but there's something unique that I see happening over and over and over again, and that's when we actualize these skills and bring them forth and they become integrated in such a deep way and they express naturally from us in all of our relationships, friends, family, colleagues, professional, everywhere, that there's this beautiful ripple effect that happens, like the pebble on the pond, where we're the pebble, and interaction by interaction that we have with people, it just makes such a huge difference in people's lives. And it can leave this impression where a person becomes awestruck by the engagement that we have simply because we were in a place of empathy rather than being closed off, contracted, or in a triggered state, and it's like the more that we can sharpen the saw in that regard, like I believe it's just completely world changing. So anyways, that's really the deeper invitation with what we're up to. So with that being said, I'm just going to play a very, very quick video, and then I'll mute for the night.
Beautiful. Well, congratulations, guys. That's a beautiful video. It's very, very exciting what you've created. And a reminder, definitely participate in the Depth Summit tomorrow. And it's going to kind of kick off. We're combining forces. My Sacred Sunday show and the first part of the Depth Summit will be tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern. And we've got Alice Hong and Dolphin and Zamir all talk about self-pleasure as self-love. So please do join us for that. And we are now getting ready for the after show.
Do you really know how the wind will blow? Are you ready to flow? The after show. Do you wanna know? Do you wanna know how it's gonna go? How it's gonna go? We got the seeds to sow. Seeds to sow. The after show. After show.
All right, welcome everybody. It is the after show, and we're going to have some wonderful music with Fanny and Vigari and Omashar, and we've got some of our teachers have agreed to stay and answer some questions. I know that Mike Thomas and Paul Sterling are going to be with us, and Emily Orem is going to join us. Sheza and Erica, let me know if you guys are available to answer any Q&A. If I see that you're still on and your cameras are on, I'll assume that that means yes. And for those of you that are watching, please give us your questions. Now, again, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, we'll try and catch it, but it's just much easier if you come on into our Zoom room, and it's really easy to do that. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and register, and that way you can come on in, and we're going to have some really powerful Q&A. I'm going to kick us right off, though, with some music. You heard just a little homeopathic dose of Fanny and Vigari and the Mystiques, but here let's have a full, the full experience. So welcome Fanny, Vigari, the Mystiques, and I know you've got a special song you've put together just for tonight's theme.
Yes, and this is about home. Home, everyone says, is where the heart is, or where the hearth is. And there's also Om, which is the universal vibration. So here we are. Fanny has written this beautiful song which combines the two. And we called it Om.
Wherever love is, there is home. dust. We are people of the stars. We are the avatars. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Wherever love is. Wherever love wherever love is, I feel
Thank you so much.
Oh, that was just beautiful. What a wonderful start to the after show. Thank you so much. And Fanny and Vigari are, they've really kind of become like our mainstays for the after show. They're going to play another song at least tonight, but to learn more about them, here is their website, starchild.ca, starchild.ca. And they are just precious to us, and really love you guys so much. Thank you for being with us, and that beautiful, beautiful music. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be on this show.
Love you guys. Erika, there's a question that's actually come in for you. And so I'm going to turn it over to you first. And then actually after that, I'm going to introduce Emily Oram, because it's also a question I think Emily might have something to say about. I don't know if you noticed it. It came in on Facebook, on one of our Facebook pages. I'm kind of condensing because somebody wrote a long piece. But the bottom line, it was a woman who also, her introduction to sex was similar. It was an incested rape experience. And she's wondering what the tools are, how you moved from a similar experience to actually feeling good about your sexuality, feeling good about your sensuality. And she kind of went into depth about how just it was such a hard start to sex, and a lot of her associations were very negative around sexuality. So it's hard for her to understand how you've become someone who is so sexually expressed and feels so good about that. So I know that that's a big question, but there you have it.
This is a beautiful question. And I believe that shame has a lot of layers that come from different voices, whether our mom, our dad, ourself. And I personally know that there was a moment on my journey where I realized I had so much shame, I did not want to look at myself. And so that shame started to show up in my relationship to the mirror, through the relationship as a woman, and mostly my sexuality. So there was a moment where I decided I'm tired of, being abused. And my stepfather at the time saw me drawing and defaming my picture, a beautiful picture of me as a little girl. And then he said, why are you drawing on yourself? And I said, I don't like who I am. And I realized, wait, that's not me. This is not my shame. And a few days later, it was raining. And there was that story in your head that just keeps looping and it just keeps playing this background tape of negativity. And I realized I get to choose, I get to reparent myself, and I can change the story and tell my mom. So first it takes awareness. And there's two questions, and I actually share this in one of the RelationFlix videos. And those two questions you can ask yourself is, what would courage have me do? What would courage have me do? And am I willing to do this? Am I willing to do this? And for me, courage was that little girl that needed the higher self, the woman that was, I'm ready to move on and change my life. When you get to that point where you get to be your own parent, your king and your queen, that king and queen is within you. And it starts by asking yourself empowering questions. When you're asking yourself disempowering questions, you're going to go on a loop of downward spiral of what about this and what about this? And first it takes self-awareness. For me, I did not know meditation when I was little. I did not know Wim Hof or all of these amazing hacks. I just had to trust myself and ask myself the most empowering questions. So that is a tool that you can do, and hopefully that supports you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And I'm sure you probably have more that you could share about it. But that's a really wonderful start. And it's interesting that you mentioned the king and queen live within you. I'm about to introduce Emily Oram. And I don't know if you know Emily or not, but it just so happens that that's a big part of Emily's current teaching. Emily and I have done a lot of creation together. We were in partnership together for 5 years. We were running Love Coach Academy, did hundreds of Facebook videos together. And here she is. And so that was actually a great introduction on your end, Erika. Emily, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on board, coming to us from Mexico. And so kind of follow up, I guess, on that question and anything you want to riff on about how the king and queen live on inside of us.
Oh, Scott, it's such a pleasure to be here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, great. Well, I just wanted to say that so much of our sexuality gets identified by what happens to us externally. So in this case, when your first experience is energy coming at you basically without your consent and taking your energy, kind of a predatorial taking energy without consent, you then start to fear that your energy, or there's something wrong with you, or you're not safe. And so being able to find our own safety and our own sense of self-worth, regardless of the externals and regardless of our first experiences that shape us, or our first beliefs that we make of ourselves based in objectification of what's sexy or beautiful. And then we create ourselves to be that, to be loved, right? We outsource our love, we outsource our self-worth, we outsource our safety based in these traumatic events or based in our conditioning. So deconstructing that is a huge lifelong journey. And so I just want to piggyback on what was said before, is like really doing the work to come into, okay, regardless of what's happened to me, how do I love myself? How do I find my truth? How do I cultivate my own sexual energy, my own sense of turn on, and develop what that is to me? And that's a really huge, courageous act, because so many of us are cultivating our sense of pleasure by what pleases others or how we'll be loved and accepted. And so getting to know our own energy and who we are and our truth, and being able to come into asking ourselves, what is the truth of who we are, builds this sense of a power in us. And so just coming back to the king, queen, and what I call the magical inner child, the holy trine, this incredible relationship that lives on inside of you, your queen energy, which I associate with your body and your sex, and your heart, and then your king energy, which is your cosmic creator, the one that is guiding and wielding and showing you the way, and that is honoring and directing your queen from your soul essence, your energy. And then your magical inner child is you before the illusion of separation, before the fall from grace, before you were conditioned by your shoulds, your guilt, and your shame. There's this pure, innocent, magical, effervescent, incredible, vulnerable, pulsing, excited, magical inner child. And I feel that by cultivating these three relationships inside of ourselves, that we can come into our ultimate wholeness and completeness and create our life from that place of integrated wholeness and sacred union. So that's what I have to say about that. And thank you so much.
Well, that's a pretty big boom. Thank you. And we'll
Yay.
hear more from Emily, I think, before the evening's over, and hopefully more from Erika as well. Emily is going to be one of our featured presenters next week. And I haven't really spoken too much yet about next week's show. Emily is also known as the Heart Ninja. So she is the Heart Ninja. And she is going to be one of our featured people. Louisa Stowe is my co-host for all next week. And the theme is going to be how true love creates heaven on earth. So there it is. That's what I want us to all contemplate between now and next week. How does true love create heaven on earth? Because that's in the awakening world. Isn't that what we're trying to do? We're wanting to create heaven on earth. And that's what the awakening world is all about. So definitely make sure you join us for next week. And hopefully we'll hear more from Emily tonight. There's another question that came up from Dr. Laura for multiple people. I'll actually express a little bit first, and then I think I'll go to Paul Sterling and see if anybody else wants to address it. Dr. Laura asks, after a certain age, she's 66, mostly you've learned to love and accept yourself. And then she says, to tell the truth, the real drive for intimate relationships diminishes a bit. Any ideas about how to stimulate in your being the desire for relationship? Good question. Well, it just so happens, Dr. Laura, that I'm 66. And actually, I've been single myself for a couple of years now. And I still have this strong desire for a relationship. But I got kind of spoiled being with Emily after 5 years because it was so good and so easy with Emily. And what's really, really true is that I'm not willing to put up with anything other than truly a divine partnership where there's ease and there's flow. Then that doesn't mean there's not going to be work. Of course there's going to be work. But, there's a difference between when you're flowing and when you're swimming upstream. And so I would say that for myself at the same age as you, every day I still look forward to a relationship, and I actually am going on a date tomorrow. But it's got to be in flow, and we're no longer driven by the I have to be in a relationship. I have to have sex. I have to have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a lover. But we're driven by availability to connect with the right person. So that's kind of my little piece on it. And Paul Sterling, I'm going to see if you have anything you'd like to say about that.
I kind of want to say the same thing, Scott, in a little bit different way. I was talking to some people today about the difference between human animal and human spirit. And when we're young, human animal, we're like, we got to reproduce. We have the drive. It's like, it's this hunger to be in a relationship, and later on it can become a desire to be in a relationship. It's not a need to, it's a want to. And so that's sort of the difference in looking at human spirit. What is the difference in those two formulas, or not formulas, but different ways of looking at it? Human animal, human spirit. And if we can get to, I don't know that we want to increase the desire. We want to just go, what is the desire, to uncover it. And if you've had a lot of painful experiences in relationships, it's like, Scott, I'll just play with you for a second, but if I'm giving you $100 bills, when do you want me to stop?
Not at all.
Because there's a benefit in there. It feels good. But if we get to this age and we've had a lot of terrible experiences in relationships and not as many good ones, it's kind of, we sort of want a relationship, but we don't have a lot of confidence that it's actually turn out well. So we're pensive rather than excited. And as we heal, like so many speakers tonight talked about healing, as we heal, we become more and more available for something amazing to happen. So there you go.
Beautiful, thank you. So the same woman that had asked the question of Erika a little bit earlier, first of all, she's sending a lot of thanks and appreciation. Again, she's on Facebook and has been very vulnerable and honest. And she said thank you to both Emily and Erika. And to know what would be specific steps beyond, what you talked about, Erika, meditation. Are there any other specific steps for reestablishing a different relationship to her sexuality? And I guess that's to both Emily or Erika. I'll put you both on spotlight and either of you can tackle it.
I can pop in. I would say is creating some time to get to know what your authentic turn on is. So what lights up your own energy, what is your authentic desire, and getting into your own pleasure body. So igniting your senses, igniting your sense of touch with your own body, listening to your own body, listening to how your erotic energy wants to move and flow. And then starting to explore how to turn yourself on and be able to start talking about that and speaking about that and bringing that out into the world.
Beautiful. Thank you, Emily. Erika, anything you'd like to add?
Very similar to what Emily shared about learning your turn on and like setting up the space to light some candles, play some sensual music, and just focus on the felt sense. If you're noticing like the thoughts are heavy, I really like to play with sound. Anytime I'm in my head, I like to just drop into just making some sound because it activates the vagus nerve. And I'm not a vagus nerve expert, but it allows you to just relax that nervous energy and just really connect to your heart. So the more that you just connect to the felt sense, you just feel more in your body, more present. And so, of course, just the other thing I like to do is take myself on a tantric date. It's something I picked up from the book Pussy, A Reclamation, one of my favorite books. Yes, Emily, we have like same books in common. So like just looking at yourself in the mirror and just like feeling sexy that you are the one. I mean, even in relationship, even if you're in a relationship, it's so good to have a relationship with yourself because no one can tell you what turns you on except yourself. So whether it's like light, feathery touch, is it sound, just knowing your erotic blueprint is another one of my favorites, is knowing your 5 languages of sex. And that's about it. I'm complete.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Well, I think what we'll do then is we're going to go into, in a moment, take more questions. But I also want to acknowledge the passage of Bob Proctor. And so, Paul, are you ready to take over on that?
Yeah, I am. And just so that people are clear, this is going to be like 5 minutes or a little bit more, but it's not going to be complete. There's no way that he was almost 90 years old. There's no way that I could ever give you a complete thing here. And Kaya is on there too, a friend of mine who's a trainer down in LA and amazing human being. And I was talking to him this morning and he had an experience with Bob. So we're going to use that as an example of what the impact Bob has on people's lives. So I'm going to share my screen here and then I'm going to ask Kaya some questions. I'm going to read a quick poem, but It's like when I look at it, all of a sudden I'm touched by the impact he had on my life. And he was born July 5th, 1934. And there's this dash there in between July and February 3rd, 2022. And you know what I wanted to just cover is a tiny bit of what he did with his dash. And so to do that, I'm going to read a quick poem and have people just sink into it. I read of a man who stood to speak at a funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on the tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of birth and spoke the following dates with tears. But when he said, what he said mattered most was the dash between those years, the dash that represents all the time that they spend alive on earth. And not only those who love them, known what little that line is worth, what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and how we love and how we spent our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that still can be rearranged. If you could slow things down enough to consider what's true and real and always try and understand the way other people feel, be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering this special dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things you say, of how you spent your dash? And this is obviously Bob. This is his wife, Linda. I was talking to Linda 2 days ago. When I found out about it, I called her right away. And I just want to say a tiny bit about Bob. I was just thinking about who he showed up as, and he lived these things. And one of the things that really touches me, my story, is when I was about to get a divorce 20 some years ago, I talked to Bob. He says, whatever you do, Paul, don't do it out of anger. It may be the right choice, but don't be mean. And that, I think it was like that night, I got in a big fight with my ex. And I wanted to say, and that's why I want a divorce. And Bob's voice was in my head, said, don't do it out of anger. And I waited. And I did it the next day out of compassion. Bob was a dreamer. He was wise. He was bold. He was generous, all of these things and more. And what I want to do is say there's so many things he left behind: The Secret, his books. But what I want to say, that one of the biggest things he left behind is he left behind impact on the people that he touched. And why I wanted to have Kaya come in and speak today is because when we were talking, Kaya, it was life-changing for Kaya, and it was another day for Bob, because this is who he was. He did it on a regular basis. So Kaya, would you be willing to share a little bit of your story of meeting Bob?
Yes, and I would love the honor of saluting your incredible work, Paul. Some of you are aware how incredible he is, and he's been working with myself and Veronica for now a year. She's right. She's like 2 years. Just one-on-one coaching. He's incredible. And Paul, I really attribute where I'm in my life a lot to what your coaching has provided for me and for Veronica. Wow, my story with Bob, like many of us that are on this journey, we've had challenges, right? Who hasn't? And they say what makes a person into a coach? Well, they had a lot of problems at some point to kind of figure out how to get through those things. So I was stuck. I was pretty much, I felt like didn't know who I was, didn't know where I was going. I had some friends say to me at some point have you seen The Secret? And I'm like, well, what's The Secret? Is it a movie with Will Smith or something? I was totally confused. So 2-3 people mentioned, go see it. I ended up putting it on. And in the very first 1 minute or so, Bob says with his language, something to the effect of, you create your experience of reality. And to me, that was a shocking statement, because I'm doing drugs, I'm drinking vodka like it's water. I have no self-worth, no self-esteem. I have no purpose in life. And I've got everybody I could think of to blame: my mom, my dad, life, the president, anybody. And then the next thing he said, and as I'm about to turn this DVD off because I'm really annoyed that he would say such a thing, he said, if you have a dream, you wouldn't have the dream if you didn't have the capability of achieving the dream. And I was thinking, I daydreamed a lot. I daydreamed of a life that I didn't have. And I felt this feeling in the middle of my chest. I felt like my hair was standing up on end. I felt goosebumps. I never even knew what a breakthrough was at that point. I was having a complete visceral breakthrough. I went online and I looked him up and tried to figure out how to get one of his programs and study with him, and ordered his program called the Science of Getting Rich program. I then found out he was going to be in LA at the Radisson Hotel. So I show up at the Radisson Hotel with a massive chip on my shoulder, still annoyed by him and his message, because it completely contradicted everything. I thought people that were happy and successful were lucky. That really was my mindset in my 20s and my early 30s. And then I walk up and there's 500 people at the Radisson Hotel. They had just come off the Oprah show with Beckwith and Canfield. And they were huge stars, and everybody's waiting to get an autograph. And that annoys me even more, because I'm thinking, this is not a rock band. He's just in a DVD. Why do you all want an autograph of his? So I wait for the line to dissipate. I go up to him and I say something to him. I don't even remember what it was. And then he goes on stage. 20 minutes later, he says, where's that Kaya? My name's Kaya. So he says, Kaya. And I am just completely mortified, because I'm in the 4th row. I know he's, when a person says a name like that, I know they're butchering my name. I'm mortified, and he asks me to stand up. I'm sinking my head in my fingers, hoping that he thinks I'm not here. The whole room is quiet, and I look through my fingers and he's staring right at me. He says, Kaya, right? Kaya, stand up. I'm pissed. I'm standing up. I feel like I'm about to faint. I feel like my knees are shaking. My palms are sweaty, because I have a huge fear of public speaking at that time. He asked me a question. I answered the question. I don't even know what I said. 500 people in the room applauded. I don't even know what I said. And then that was the realization that something was happening. I looked at him as God. He's like this tall, skinny white guy. I know that God is in all colors and all forms, but at that time I thought, okay, if there's an image of God, that's what it looks like to me at this moment. And then I ended up studying with him part of his Science of Getting Rich program with Reverend Michael Beckwith and Jack Canfield. And then I would have these little mastermind meetings, and I would dream of one day, could it be possible one day I would share the stage with my mentor of mentors, Bob Proctor. And people said, oh, he doesn't have time for you. He's busy. He's on the Oprah show. That ain't ever going to happen. So I ended up asking someone who asked him if he would come to LA, and he was going to be in LA. And they said, but you got to have a crowd, dude. You can't, Bob is used to big groups. You can't. So I ended up coming out with $1,500. I paid Ryan Seacrest himself to announce Bob Proctor, Kai Redford, whatever, in Pasadena. Within 24 hours, 300 people showed up, and I was actually on stage with him. This was 4 months after I had a stutter. I had a massive fear of public speaking, and I thought it was impossible. And I just want to really credit this incredible man, because I see all of us as the children of the universe, God, source, infinite intelligence, whatever you want to call it. And, growing up, they always wanted to be like Mike. You know, I want to be like Mike, like Michael Jordan. For me, it was I wanted to be like Bob. And Bob would absolutely impacted my life. And I know he's impacted the lives of so many other people. Today, I do a lot of success coaching for Fortune 500 companies, and uh, attracted Paul into my life to level me up even more and even higher. And it's just an incredible opportunity uh, to to salute an incredible man who in spirit will be with me and is with all of us for the rest of time. So thank you, Bob. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, everybody, for allowing for me to share my greatest mentor, my first mentor.
Yeah. And thank you, Kaya. And I think that I almost want to end it on this unless there's other people's input. The why I wanted to do this is there's no way to like stuff all of the accomplishments into this time period. I'd rather take one story of one transformation and say, that's Bob. He cared about people. He cared about transforming lives. He wanted to make a difference. You know, he reached out to me, and, you know, I went to my story, probably pretty similar to Kaya's in a lot of ways. And we became friends, and we're friends probably for over 30 years. And the last time I talked to him, the thing he said is, Paul, you're a really good friend.
Mm.
And that was one of the most precious things to hear that from him. And that's the kind of guy he was and will be remembered for. He's the kind of guy that can make a difference. And I think I'll close on that. And the thing, if we want to honor him, is to know that we're the kind of people that can also make a difference. I know Kaya and Veronica have paid it forward. They make a huge difference in a lot of people's lives with the work that they do. So, and Scott does. And so thank you, Kaya, for your beautiful story. And thank you, Veronica. I hear you, didn't see you.
Thank you. Good to meet you, Kaya. Thank you for coming on. Thank you, Paul, for sharing that. And let's just take a moment of silence and send prayer, appreciation to Bob, wherever he is, as he's making his transition. Maximum grace for the great soul, for the great spirit of this man. Thank you, Bob, for all the lives you've touched. I think we're going to transition into some music. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everybody. If Fanny and Vigari are ready to play, can you guys, are you guys about ready to play? Looks like you are. And then we'll also have some music from Omashar. And any last questions, people, definitely we'll get to final questions. I see Michael Dyer is still here. Dolphin is still here. And of course, Paul and myself are still here. But we're going to wrap up pretty soon. So Fanny and Vigari have one more song for us.
This one is called The Wings of Love. And tonight was very touching, beautiful, talking about love. Is there foreplay for Valentines? And as a couple, Vigari and I, for 25 years, I say that I think the magic, the trick of a relationship is really to have fun together and to honor each other. So as you honor who you are within yourself, you can honor your partner, because remember, we are a reflection, a mirror to each other. So I remember when I met Vigari 25 years ago, I was playing on the street as a musician, and I recognized Vigari, and we exchanged a musical instrument, and I went to visit his home, and he sang me a song. And his song blew me away, and I said, this is the man for me. This is forever. I know his heart, his love, his tenderness, his sweetness. I know I will honor him forever. And he worked, he swept me off my feet, and we dance and we still are dancing. So remember to find the passion in you and honor who you truly are, so you can truly honor your partner. Love is magical. Love is supposed to be fun, and love is supposed to be easy, like a flow. Just let go, let God, and honor who you are and who you are with. So remember the wings of love.
Yes, you can sing your heart. Sing yourself into your lover's heart.
Thank you. That was just a really beautiful story and a beautiful wisdom that you just shared. So thank you so very much.
The wings of love take me higher. The wings of love take me higher. The wings of love lift me higher. Love is a flower. Love is good, good nature. Love is compassion in action. Love is a sharing, sheer joy of giving. Let the wings of love take you higher, higher in love, higher. Remember, all is love. Bring angels around. Timeless is love. Divine is your love. Sacred is your love. Holy is your loving, transcendent. All is love. All is love. Between each other, yes, love. All is love. When your love is compassion, a pure fragrance is released. A higher form of love, a higher vibration. When your love is compassion, when your love is high vibration, and when your love is not asking for anything, but only ready to give, only ready to love. fragrance is a flower. Your love is an essence. A mighty, 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 mighty is your love. Mighty, mighty, mighty is your love. Yeah. When you play together is the best foreplay. And all is good and all is sweet and all is love. Remember to take yourself so ever lightly. Be only ready to give. Be only ready to love. Love is a phenomenon. Love is a fragrance. Love is the essence of the one mighty, one mighty, mighty love. Oh, you see, oh, you see, my love. You see, the wings of love take you higher. The wings of love lift you higher. You see.
Thank you so much. Wow, that was just beautiful. Wow.
Well,
Noticing.
that was a great orgasm. That's what it is. You relax and you really enjoy the moment. There's no rush. Life is beautiful. Love is beautiful. And our songs are available on our website if you want. The song we played before, the Om song, was created on a mountain. It was a beautiful. We also have a video on our website of Om, wherever love is. And
So here's your website. So I assume we
Thank
go.
you.
It's starchild.ca, and if you go to music, mystical harp music, Starchild music, Wow, you've got a lot happening here. Look at that. Wow. What's the best way while I'm here to actually buy your music?
Well, you can actually go on starchild.ca for Canada. Hey.
Right.
And you just send us a note and we'll send you a hard copy. We are kind of an old fashioned copy.
Oh, okay. All right.
We'll
Well,
send you a picture and a hard copy. And
that's
you
good
can
to
also
know.
subscribe on our YouTube channel because we're starting this new relation here on the Zoom room and with the world. And we want to share our love with our mystic music.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, you guys. And hopefully you'll be back next week or soon after. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Much love.
I think we're going to wind down. There haven't been any more questions that came in. I want to acknowledge Omashar, who's getting ready to go to Peru, but I think that last song we just heard was a great way to complete, if you're okay with that, Omashar.
Yes, totally fine. Thank you.
When do you leave for Peru?
Next Wednesday.
Wednesday.
But I'll see you tomorrow in the morning at your Sacred
great.
Sunday show.
All right, great. We'll see you on the Sacred Sunday show tomorrow. Thank you so
Lovely.
much.
Beautiful, Fanny and Vigaris. Thank you.
Yeah, wasn't that beautiful? And a lot of wonderful comments coming in. Really, the musicians on this show are incredible, and so are the presenters. I want to acknowledge Paul Sterling and Michael Dyer, both still with us. Hey guys, thank you. I'm going to go to gallery review for one last moment. Thank you, everybody who's kind of hung in there, and 77 people in the Zoom room, and 32 still on Facebook Unify. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll look forward to get a good night's rest, because tomorrow we've got a great Sacred Sunday show. And so I'm hoping to see you. We know Omashar is going to be there. And we know that I'll be there along with Alice, Dolphin, and Samir. So looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Have a beautiful, beautiful evening. And and let me save the chat.